Blitz. It is the Blitz. Here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. If you're on the go, ESPNSA.com, a fine locale. Don't mind them brake lights will get you all the way home. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. James Pledger driving us for the next 3 hours. We're going to interrupt our ongoing basketball coverage for a fair amount of sports talk. We'll get you caught up with the sports world, and we'll all cry about our broken brackets. But keep in mind, you're not alone. We're all in it together.
Yikes. All I got to say is when you go to ESPNSA.com and check our basketball bracket mayhem brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue, first in line for that $100 gift card from Pinkerton's, me. My bracket sitting atop, which tells you just how screwed up this tournament has been so far. Of all the different things that I've done before, I've never done well in an NCAA tournament bracket challenge. I don't think I've ever won one in any of my private groups. So for me to be in first place after the first round of games had me pretty excited. To sit here on Monday of tournament week, and not only am I in first place, but Rob Thompson, who convinced me that the Pac-12 sucks and don't take any of their games. And I listened to you. There was a couple of games where I was kind of on the fence, but I listened to Rob Thompson, who watches more college basketball than anybody. More importantly, I listened to his son, and I didn't go with a lot of Pac-12 teams, and that was a mistake.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that,
I really
love me some Big Ten. I love me some Big Ten coming to this, too. I mean,
Illinois, baby.
Well, I had Illinois winning it all. I think I only had one Big Ten team losing in the first round, and that was Maryland. So, you know, I continue an unfettered and unblemished record of terrible picks. But I will say this. Anybody who woke up Sunday morning with one of those higher percentage correct in the bracket, wherever it might be. If you're sitting in like the 80th percentile or whatever it might be, you don't know basketball. I will give you credit for one upset. I'll give you credit for picking two upsets. I will even give you credit for picking three upsets. If you picked 8 upsets with, you know, all of the research that you might have done, you're a freaking genius. I'm going to put it on flat-ass luck. Well, Brenda and accounting kind of stuff.
I mean, when you look at it, what I see on the ESPN this morning, 19 upsets by the betting line. You got 3 double-digit seeds onto the Sweet 16. Only the third time since like 1979 that's happened. It's weird. And look, all the people celebrating the Longhorns losing to Abilene Christian, ain't nobody had that. I mean, you know, maybe a couple hundred kids that go to ACU might have had that in their bracket.
They did not. They didn't even have that. Who are we kidding?
Are there stakes on this one too?
I mean, look. Well, I mean, there could be stakes on this. I don't know. We didn't really make the wager because, quite frankly, I'm tired of making bets with Rob that he never pays off. I mean, you know, maybe now that he has the trigger,
we're waiting on somebody else to pay off this year. I was a firm second place this year, so somebody else is going to have to pay off. Well, yeah, we're going to look a lot at the brackets and the upsets that were and try to figure out why. I think that this is good news for college basketball in so many different ways. We're going to look across the length and breadth of the college basketball world as we still got more games tonight, and then we get to take a nice little long break. COVID reared its ugly head. We got Oregon passing through, and they used the rest quite well today.
Yes, they did.
Iowa right out of there, and we'll have the games tonight. Bob Ballou's going to join us here in about 15 minutes, a little bit under that, right at 4:30. I don't know where I sit with this, Jason, because the Texas game, it was so bad. It was dumb basketball, and the worst possible time and everything else. I don't know where I land on whether Shaka should stay or go, but it is one of those existential moments for the University of Texas to make a decision. I think that loss kind of brought them to a crossroads as to what their commitment level should be with Shaka. You know, I'm not for firing coaches after all this, but that was so miserable. I'm not sure a Texas fan could ever get that taste out of their mouth. That was awful.
You look at it, and there is going to be some sort of fallout from this loss. And again, Shaka has yet to win a tournament game as the head coach at the University of Texas. A year ago, we all thought he was on his way out, yet somehow he survived, and maybe COVID played a role in that. He grew some hair, became unrecognizable on campus, and he kept his job. Then they had a really good season. They won the Big 12 tournament for the first time. And that's great. But then when you go and you get beat by Abilene Christian, and part of me loved it in the sense of I love watching the little schools beat the big guys. And when you beat your in-state big boy, your big brother in-state, so, kind of like Loyola beating Illinois. I mean, there's something to getting the upset at the tournament, but there's some extra icing on that cake when it's an in-state school, the in-state big brother that you knocked off. But somehow I don't know that you can survive losing to Abilene Christian if you are Shaka Smart, especially with the kind of basketball that they played. The effort wasn't there, the mistakes. Overall, I mean, again, games like that, I don't want to blame coaches. Players are the ones out there making the plays. But even some of the stuff they were drawing up, it was just bad all the way around.
Greg Brown, their super freshman, 6 minutes. You lose to a team that shot 29%. You turned the ball over, 23, 24, 25 times? Well, it was dumb, and awful.
And you almost pulled it out. You hit the shot. I don't care about the phantom call. That was a BS call. But then you get a kid to the free throw line that sunk two of the most clutch free throws that you will ever see. I mean, hats off to ACU. It just sucked. I was at a party. We were watching this game, and just the disbelief that the Longhorns lost that game to Abilene Christian, and the way they did it. Part of you wanted to celebrate ACU and a kid who's not a good free throw shooter to knock down two. Watching that coach's wife, just all of it. I mean, that's what March Madness is about. And not having it last year, maybe I just appreciate it a little bit more this year, even if it is my Longhorns that are getting shredded in a first-round game to Abilene Christian.
Yeah, that Matt Coleman shot's going to go the way of Tim Duncan's three in that.
Against Phoenix. Yeah,
just a phenomenal, perfect shot at the right time, but there was just too much time left. We'll look into Texas. Bob Ballou of KI Sports in Austin will join us at 4:30. And evidently, Mike Tyson's doing quite well with the weed farming. He turned down a fair amount of money to fight Evander Holyfield. We'll talk about that at 4:45. Now, the Cowboy talk. My goodness, the Cowboys seem to have a plan, Jason. It seems like they are actually working their way toward through free agency toward the draft. They finally went and got a safety, or should I call him a safe backer? He's a linebacker safety, something like that. But they got somebody to stand behind the linebackers finally.
You get the Neal signing done, which is a nice signing. Some obvious connections there with new DC Dan Quinn. I mean, the fact that there's debate right now, because I think all of us look at their defense and go, boy, they need a lot of help. They're debating whether or not they want to bring Aldon Smith back, even though he had a really good year. He seems to be a good fit for the Cowboys, will be a good fit with what Dan Quinn wants to do. I don't know what the price tag is, but I saw Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News tweet earlier today that he doesn't have a job yet, which is kind of surprising, to be honest. The Cowboys are debating whether or not they're going to bring him back. They need all the defensive help they can get, but they're trying to do it with pieces and parts. They keep adding to the offense, even to where, I saw Trent Dilfer responding to a Good Morning Football tweet today. One of their topics on the NFL Network this morning was a debate between the Cowboys offense and the Giants offense. And Trent Dilfer chimed in and said, man, all roads lead to the Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys this year.
Oh, no.
Dude, it's March. The Cowboys are Super Bowl bound every March. We know that.
Oh, no. Let's not start that yet. I did hear earlier that the Cowboys have guaranteed Zeke's contract this year. That's 12.4 guaranteed, with the idea of maybe restructuring and finding some more salary cap room. I wonder what they're continuing to chase with that extra money.
It's interesting because Cooper's is done as well, and so and again, hopefully it's on the defensive side. I mean, you've got the draft coming up. A lot of debate on what they might do with that 10th overall pick. What they do in free agency could be some signals. But it's the Dallas Cowboys. So if a Kyle Pitts is sitting there at number 10, hard for Jerry to pass up another shiny toy and say, well, best player available. I still want to tackle. Most everybody wants one of those great corners, but I wouldn't be mad with a Kyle Pitts in there either. Let's just go get 50 a game. Dude,
if Jerry drops the Kyle Pitts tight end thing, I wonder what Steven would do then. He grabbed his dad by the lapels to stop him from dropping Johnny Football. I wonder what he would, because I think a lot of people look at Kyle Pitts the same way you looked at CeeDee Lamb last year. Boy, that's a bright, pretty toy. He's shiny and he's fast and he can catch, and wow, it'll be a lot of fun to use him. But it's not where the Cowboys need to be.
No, but again, I'll make an argument for Kyle Pitts if the Cowboys were to go there. Kyle Pitts looks like one of those 10-year guys. And next year, you're either going to lose Michael Gallup because you won't be able to afford him, or you could get out of the Amari Cooper contract. But you would already have his replacement in Kyle Pitts on the roster.
I'm down for it, but are we ready to witness again what we saw last year on the defensive side of the ball? First of all, the 6-hour football games are going to have to stop. We're going to have to figure out a way to shorten them up. Hey, coming back, let's talk Spurs. When last we saw them, they looked okay. I mean, the Bucks are the Bucks, and it was a worthy effort, but here we sit. We are now just a couple of days from the trade deadline. The Spurs are going to be busy this week. We're going to talk Spurs next. Don't forget, we'll have Game Night San Antonio getting you ready later this evening, but tomorrow. Hold on. You want to? Are we gonna have Jill today?
Yeah, Jill Jelnick
okay.
For Game Night San Antonio. Spurs continuing to play every other day. The Spurs have a game.
58 and 60 days or something like that. Who knows? The trek continues, but they continue to impress even in a loss. We'll talk Spurs coming up next. Hang around with us. You're on the Blitz, you lucky devils. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you're looking for authentic sausage, the kind you can find in butcher shops back in the old days, then Kia Boss's smoked sausage is what you've been looking for. It's grilling season. You're going to fire up the grill. You want the best, and that is Kia Boss. And it's because of the way they make their legendary smoked sausage. It's in small 150-pound batches with only fresh, high-quality ingredients, never frozen meat. They don't add fillers or chemicals that you can't pronounce. Then it is smoked over real hardwood, just the way Rufus Kielbasa did back in 1949 when he started the company here in San Antonio. And everything they make is made right here in San Antonio, including their new smoked chicken sausage that is available for a limited time at their company store down at 1325 South Brazos Street, or you can order it online at kielbasa.com. They've got the hatch chili and cheddar smoked chicken sausage and a roasted garlic smoked chicken sausage. I've had them both. They are fantastic. Again, only available right now at the company store down on Brazos Street or online at kielbasa.com. You know, when you buy Kielbasa brand sausage, you're getting the best, most authentic smoked sausage you'll ever eat. If it's not the best, just call Michael Kielbasa. He'll give you your money back. That's why he puts his phone number on the back of every package sold. You're going to fire up the grill. Make sure you get some Kielbasa today.
Show us your meat. On the grill. Take a picture and upload it to ESPNSA.com, and you could win a $50 gift card from Tri-County Meat Market if you do. Grilling with the Blitz every Thursday.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners. You know, following that winter storm, a lot of people had two questions about their water, especially after having to boil it. Is it safe to drink? And if you have a water softener, do you need a water filter? Well, Alamo Water Softeners actually recommends both a water softener and a filtration system, because a water softener will take the hardness and minerals out of the water, but there are some chemicals and contaminants that it won't remove that a filtration system will. Smart thing for you to do. Call Alamo Water Softeners, have them come out to your house and give you a free water analysis. They'll come test your water for free and give you a free estimate. And let's face it, in San Antonio, we all know that you have to have a water softener. It's a necessary item, not a luxury item, because in San Antonio, we have some of the hardest water in the country. I've had a water softener from Alamo Water Softeners for about a decade. Wouldn't live without one. great local company owned by the Townsends. They have a great product and even better customer service. In fact, on the Nextdoor app, Alamo Water Softeners was voted a 2020 neighborhood favorite. They are the best value for the highest quality water treatment. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Looking for a protein-packed snack to power you through the day? Of course you are. Only Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have the bold flavors that stand out in the Me Too snack aisle. Sea salt and cracked black pepper, pineapple ancho chili, pasilla chili cheese, and more. Take your snacking to higher flavor levels with Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. And keto fans, you're going to love this low-carb crunch. Visit your local H-E-B and southernrecipesmallbatch.com to see the power of the rind.
Howdy, San Antonio. Chip Ingram from the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, inviting you to come out and enjoy patio season. We have newly remodeled patios, garage doors, and everything else you need to enjoy this great South Texas weather. As always, ice cold beer and specialty drinks, happy hours daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and our kitchen is open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. See you soon at the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant at 281 and Redland Road.
Hey y'all, I'm Grant Pinkerton of Pinkerton's Barbecue in downtown San Antonio. We only smoke prime meats with a blend of post oak and mesquite. Come see us for some of those giant beef ribs, tender brisket, and a cold big red. We have a Texas-sized bar, great selection of bourbon, and tons of local beers. I love sports, so we have plenty of screens to watch them on. We're open Wednesday through Sunday for lunch and dinner or until we sell out. Come early, come hungry, and stay late.
Injuries happen. If you twist, pull, pump, or snap something, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. From a minor sprain to a compound fracture, TSAOG has got you covered. Not all injuries require surgery. Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries and concussion baseline testing. Telemedicine services are available through Ortho Connect. If you're hurting, go to the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Online, TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com.
It is the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. On the go at ESPNSA.com. Spurs lost one. They went down to the Milwaukee Bucks, though they are firmly in the playoffs tonight. The Charlotte Hornets are coming to town, but the good news is they don't have a ball. But let's talk about what we've seen over the last couple of days. We do know that Pop spoke earlier. We're going to get to catch up with him in just a minute. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Game night San Antonio gets you going for the Hornet game in the 6 o'clock hour. Jelnick will join us for the Mellow Mushroom game night San Antonio. But in the meantime, you know, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the Spurs this weekend, obviously. You know, and I knew that the Milwaukee, you know, at the end of the day, I probably should have watched the Spurs play Milwaukee. It would have been a happy loss as opposed to the mini brackets I was ripping up on Saturday night. But we did see the Spurs. I mean, it was not an embarrassing performance at all. 121-13. They went in there shorthanded. Lonnie goes and gets 31. While it was a loss, I still put that in the upward trending column because we saw a lot of good things against a very good team.
When you look at where this group is, and you use the term firmly in the playoffs, and I kind of shudder when I hear that because, well, they're a 7th seed right now, and we know 7 to 10, everybody is so bunched up. But this team is showing what they're capable of doing. You know, remember last week we were talking about this 5-game road trip. You knew you were going to lose the first one, and they did. You got to win those middle 3. Those are all winnable games. In Milwaukee, you know, you weren't expected to win that game. So if you go 3-2 on this trip, I would call that a success. We said that going into the 5-game road trip, and that is exactly what they did. A bit of a scare on St. Patrick's Day where they had that incredible comeback and got the win. You take care of business Friday against Cleveland. All in all, a good road trip. Now you're starting to see what other teams are going through. The Lakers are going to be without LeBron for a while now as he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. You got 2 games this week against the Clippers. And even Pop said after the game Saturday night against Milwaukee, he likes where this team is for one big reason. There's room to grow.
It's a heck of a interesting and enjoyable group. because of that fact. This is the 5th game in 7 nights. And, a couple of important guys didn't play, but it doesn't matter. They all come to compete, getting better all the time. And, as I told them after the game, they have more room to improve than a lot of teams as they're still learning an awful lot about what it takes to win and lose. I think Lamar and Rudy are doing a good job of leading them. We had 29 assists tonight against a hell of a team. They do a great job. So we're thrilled with the way we played. You just have to keep the consistency.
And it's interesting how he talked about the room to grow, Rob, and where they're able to go. And I think there's a lot to that, because you're seeing the young guys continue to get better. And they played well, even though they lost to Milwaukee, but that was a good basketball team they were playing, and they played them well.
Yeah, it was good to see Lonnie come out and be offensively aggressive. You could tell that Pop certainly wanted to see him take shots, be part of that offense, and don't defer. They were minus some, and they needed to get out there and get it. And Lonnie went and did it. More importantly, we talk about the playoffs in general. If you look at the records for most of the group that we're fighting with, and the Mavericks have gotten hot. They're 7-3 over their last 10 games. But other than that, you look at the Spurs are 5-5, the Warriors 4-6, the Grizzlies 5-5, the Pelicans 4-6. That's the separation between 7 and 11. The Thunder are right there at 5-5 as well. Now every team is roughly playing 500 basketball, and while the Lakers are going to suffer a little bit because without LeBron and Anthony Davis, that looks like the Oklahoma City Thunders to me. I think they're going to lose some games, but other than that, I think every team's just kind of found this happy middle where they're winning and losing kind of on the regular, going 500. Spurs just need to make sure that when they play the likes of the Mavs, the Warriors, and the Grizz, they win those games. Tiebreakers matter. And you look back at what we saw with Houston. We lost to Houston. They're 0-10, 0-20 as a whole. It is breaking Coach Silas's will there in Houston. Tonight's Charlotte game is important, but I'll tell you what, they're coming in banged up. They lost Ball for the season, who broke a wrist yesterday. That's tough news for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's another one of those games that they are just supposed to go out and win. I mean, there's just no question about it. And we've had our trouble with Charlotte over the run.
Well, and again, I mean, you look at, and it's interesting because Borrego compares Ball to, losing Manu, and I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet, but obviously this is a winnable game for the San Antonio Spurs, and you would expect them to come out and win tonight. But again, we're talking about the Spurs. How consistent are they going to be as we continue through this season? But again, winnable game, knowing that you've got 2 games this week with the LA Clippers and that dude in town. You hope to get at least one of those, but you got to win the winnable games. And, Hornets are going to be shorthanded. You got to take advantage of that.
Without Ball, that is a wounded team. He was headed toward Rookie of the Year. We do expect DeMar tonight, right? No issues, no problems.
I haven't seen an updated injury report on what could be there or what might not be there. So yeah, I know. But according to lineups, he's going to play. I know he played Saturday, but it was more of a facetious thing. We are going to have DeMar, right? I mean, with him, I think it certainly is going to help, and he needs to get himself on track, get himself back. You could tell he was kind of lacking. So the best news that I can say about what's going on in Austin is spring football started today. Yeah. Officially tomorrow, but Sark was able to talk today, which is probably the best news for one Shaka Smart. That remember a couple weeks ago, we were all talking about ERCOT, and then all of a sudden, we 100% no mask. Let's talk about that instead. Shaka's doing the same thing. Oh, thank goodness there is football to talk about on the 40 acres. Don't pay attention to what just happened to UT basketball against Abilene Christian.
Sark Speaks, the brand new football coach of the University of Texas Longhorns, speaks out as spring practice starts tomorrow, right on the heels of a devastating loss by the Longhorn athletic department went there and with the basketball team. Bob Ballou of KI Sports plugged in all around Austin. We're going to talk to him all about Longhorn sports. It's a dark day with a little bit of sunshine as they're getting ready to play some football. Bob Ballou joins us next. Hang around. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minix here for BSG, the company that brings you the best in home security and smart home technology. Most of the smart home technology in my house is from BSG. My thermostat, outdoor lights, door locks, garage door opener, sprinkler system, my surround sound speaker system, both inside and outside. And you know what else they have for smart home technology? A water valve controller. Now, you think about that winter storm, water pipes breaking everywhere. Maybe you had pipes break. If not, you certainly know somebody who did, and the mess that goes along with it. You also know that you don't have to have a hard freeze for a pipe to bust and flood your house. Happens every day. The smart valve from BSG, it goes on your main water line. If it detects any leaks, it will shut off your water, and then you get a notification on your smartphone app. The smart valve will shut down a leak before it can turn into a flood, so you can stay ahead of water waste and high bills. Monitor your water usage and pipes right from your phone. Talk about smart home technology from a company you can trust, and the peace of mind your home is protected, especially if you're not home. BSG of Texas, making smart home automation simple. Call 210-877-1222, 877-1222, or learn more on their website, bsgtexas.com/radio, bsgtexas.com/radio.
Hey, we're both working toward a common goal. Quitting time! This is San Antonio's sports leader, 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM, all day, every day.
Does it feel like finding clothes in your fit is impossible? Tired of feeling overwhelmed with options that just aren't right? Let the experts at Stitch Fix do the shopping for you. At Stitch Fix, we make sure each piece is hand-selected for your life. So whether you're staying home or on the go, Stitch Fix has the answer for what to wear. We make it easy to find what works for you. Signing up takes just a few minutes, and styles are delivered directly to your door. Get started today at StitchFix.com. Stitch Fix, your style delivered.
Hurt in an accident and dealing with a wrecked car? Thomas J. Henry will help you get a rental car while we work on your case. Start your claim today at tjhlaw.com/radio. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
Most of us don't think about our brakes until we need to think about our brakes. Jason Minix here for newbrakes.com, nubrakes.com. They are a mobile brake shop. They will come to you to fix your brakes. We all like things to be easy and convenient, and New Brakes has done that with brake repair. They will come to your home or office or wherever you are. Busy work schedule? No problem. Relaxing at the house? No worries. New Brakes comes to you, and they will repair your brakes while you do whatever it is you do. At New Brakes, they only fix brakes. New Brakes provides convenient and affordable brake repairs without the normal upsells traditional repair shops love to give you once your car is up on the lift. Most repairs are done in less than an hour. New Brakes uses premium brake parts, and they back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go read all the 5-star reviews. If your brakes are squeaking or grinding, go to newbrakes.com and schedule your repair. Save 10% when you mention my name or ESPN. Newbrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. You're on 94.5 FM. Thank you. ESPNSA.com. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. The Home Springs Eternal up there around the 40 acres as the spring training or spring practice will begin tomorrow. We awoke this morning after the devastation that was the NCAA tournament there for Shaka Smart's basketball team. On the offing, we're chasing Bob Ballou of KI Sports there in Austin. He'll join us in just a second. On the when the game was over, Jason, you were amongst a crowd, probably a lot of Longhorn fans. Was the sentiment right then, fire him? It's over. This is pointless. We're 6 years in. You don't have a single tournament win. We've seen improvement, but it ain't enough.
Yeah, the only thing that might have saved him was Rick Barnes didn't have a good showing either. There with the other UT. But yeah, there just the frustration level of, are you kidding? We still don't have a tournament win. Winning the Big 12 tournament doesn't mean a thing. You've got to get it done in the tournament, and you just lost to Abilene Christian.
If it had been a loss to any other school, whether it was Sisters of the Poor, some other state, but because it was in-state, that just magnified it to the extent that it exposed some of the problems. Because, Jason, we're back to where we were 2 years ago. Shaka has consistently recruited well. He's brought in several one-and-dones, and they've gone on to flourish. But you lose like that, it's hard to get over. Let's look to the source. Let's go up to Austin. Bob Ballou, good friend of the show of KI Sports, joins us as we look at the burnt orange flavor of Texas today. Hey, welcome aboard, Bob. How's your day going?
It's going well. I assume you want to talk about Jordan Spieth and Scotty Scheffler and Dylan Fratelli getting ready for the Dell Technology match play here in Austin. That's the burnt orange flavor that everybody's talking about, right?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that's what Shaka Smart would rather us talk about, anything but what happened against Abilene Christian. Best news for Shaka, spring football starts tomorrow, right? Let's divert our attention there. But I was at a party Saturday, and immediately everybody was like, fire that dude. It's time for him to go. 0 tournament wins, and you lose to Abilene Christian. What's the mood in Austin on Monday following what we saw over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to that. I don't think that's anything that fans, that's how fans are. That's how they react to things. And it's funny how you can so quickly go from, Big 12 champions in the tournament, 10-1, ranked 4th in the country. They deal with COVID issues. They fight through those and come back, and I think win 6 of their final 7 games against some really good teams. Swept Kansas this year for the first time. And then you lose 1 game, and now all of a sudden the coach needs to go. I don't know what the answer is. You got to win games in the NCAA tournament. There's a bottom line here. I think everybody knows that. When you go 6 years at a school and you don't have an NCAA tournament win, it's tough to justify. I think that's the bottom line in everything. If this was a one-off where you lost to Abilene Christian as a 3 seed, those things happen all the time in the NCAA tournament. His first year, they were knocked out by Northern Iowa on a half-court shot at the buzzer. His third year, they blew a 14-point second-half lead against Nevada and lost in overtime. That ended up being a really good Nevada team that went to the Sweet 16, maybe the Elite 8. I can't remember. But listen, in the end, you've got to win. And there are a lot of legitimate, I don't even want to call them excuses. I think legitimate reasons that this thing hasn't worked for him. I think, like I said, I mean, you could go year by year and talk through each thing that's happened. But when you look at the bottom line is 0 tournament wins in 6 years. And I think that's what everyone looks at.
Bob Ballou of KI Sports joining us here on the Blitz as we look at the Texas athletic program. Real quickly, before you start focusing on football, this was about as good as you're going to get from Shaka. I mean, this was a very good team that he's recruited. He's got this experienced leadership at guards. He's got bounce. He's got at least 1 pro, probably 2 on that team, maybe even 3, depending on, where things land. It just appears that it ain't going to get much better, but you look at, this is the team that you expected Shaka to recruit. This is it. You hired him from VCU to put together a team that was athletic, that would press, that could move the ball up and down, be free-ranging, lob city with lots of nice dunks. You got all that, but you got all the negative side of that as well. In your long-term view, Bob, is he going to be the coach there next year?
Man, I just don't even know. I don't know how you go about making this decision because you're right. I mean, you have the elder guys in the backcourt that you expect to do big things. They have 15 turnovers, Matt Coleman, 7 of them. It was hard to watch that part of it. But then, Greg Brown, who played roughly 20 minutes a game this year, when he walked up that tunnel in the quarterfinal against Texas Tech on his own, that pretty much effectively ended his Texas career. He played 6 minutes in the Big 12 title game. He played 6 minutes in the game the other night, and really at a point where they could have used his rebounding. He was fifth or sixth in the Big 12 in rebounding this year, and they were out-rebounded by the smallest team in the tournament, Abilene Christian. So you had Greg Brown, Kai Jones, Jericho Sims, the 3 guys that are probably going to play in the NBA. Jericho Sims got 3 shots on the night. That's inexplicable, unconscionable, all the words you want to use. I don't know how that happened other than, obviously their guards couldn't get them the ball because they were turning it over every possession. It was unbelievable really that happened in that game. But again, if that's a one-off, we're not having this conversation, I don't think. I think because of because of all those things, I think that's the reason we're having this conversation is, that's where we are.
I think all of that there. I mean, he did return all the scholarship players. This was his team, his year. All of that's there.
Yep.
And he's got 2 years left on his deal. The buyout a lot easier than say last year when we wondered if he was going to survive, and almost felt as if COVID might have saved his job a year ago. How are you going to replace him during a COVID year, if I'm remembering it correctly?
I think losing to Texas Tech in the Big 12 quarterfinal last year, if that had happened, they probably wouldn't have made the NCAA tournament. I don't know what move you would have made. Obviously, COVID changed everything. He got another shot. He brought back everyone, like you said, and then still didn't win in the NCAA tournament. Now, he did win in the regular season. He did win in the postseason in the Big 12 tournament, and there is something to be said for that. Chris Del Conte loves him. I think everyone loves him. I think everyone likes who he is. He does things the right way. He doesn't cheat. You don't see scandal around the program. But again, it's the same thing we talked about with Tom Herman. The bottom line is winning. The bottom line is you have to win in the biggest of moments. And even though Tom Herman went 7-3 last year in the middle of the pandemic, they still fired him. And there are a lot of reasons behind that too. I understand that. But if you're not winning championships on a consistent basis, then that's where you're losing out. And so that's what makes this decision so interesting for Chris Del Conte is, there's one more year in the Irwin Center, and then you move into an arena. Is the right coach out there that you want to go get? And then what happens if you say, you know what, we're going to let him go another year? Everybody leaves the program because we assume Jericho and Kai and Greg and Matt and all these guys are going to be gone, right? So let's say next year they're okay, whatever. They get to the tournament, they make it as like a 10 seed, and then he runs off 3 wins and goes to the Elite 8. Now what do you do? So if you're going to make the decision, you make it now, and you say we're done. We're going to go get our guy. Who is that guy? Who do you believe in? And then you move forward from there. You don't put these decisions off a year because you never know what's going to happen in the next year.
And there might be a guy in Lubbock who's also bounced in the first round that could be interested. How much do you think Chris Del Conte will look and say, what does Abilene Christian do the rest of the tournament? Right now, midway through the first half, they're trailing UCLA 16-12. They're hanging with UCLA. If they're able to beat UCLA, does that ease the burn a little bit in Chris Del Conte's mind?
No, absolutely not. No. I don't think anything that Abilene Christian does matters from here. I think that he looks at what Shaka Smart has done in his resume. Certainly the Chris Beard aspect of this is interesting. I think, you just don't know what a coach wants. You don't know what a coach wants. Rick Pitino's a guy that everybody's starting to talk about too. And then you go, he's already said he doesn't want to go back to a major program. What about John Beilein, who's been out of the game?
John Beilein, there it is. John Beilein, call him now. He knows how to coach in a big school. He knows how to deal with the pressures of a football program that Michigan had, and he was successful. He is the Rick Barnes all over again. That's the guy you're going to have to go get.
He's 68. I'm just saying, it's not.
That's the new 40.
You're going to hire John Beilein. But if you're hiring John Beilein, you're hiring John Beilein for 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. You're not hiring him to be your coach for the next 15, 20 years. And maybe it works. I mean, again, I'm not trying to say that ends up not being the answer. You never know how these things work out. But, there are names being floated around now. And there are a lot of things you have to take into consideration with each one. Royale Ivey is another name that people are throwing around, who played at Texas with TJ Ford on those teams in the early 2000s. He's been an NBA assistant for years now. But just because it worked for Juwan Howard going back to his alma mater doesn't mean it's going to work for Royale Ivey going back to his alma mater. I mean, it's just you can run around in circles with a lot of this stuff, and we'll see how it plays out. I think it plays out fairly quickly. We saw, Chris Del Conte made that decision quickly after the Alamo Bowl to fire Tom Herman. I mean, it was a done deal. We'll see now because now he faces a decision. If they beat Abilene Christian and beat UCLA, there's no decision. But now he faces a decision to say, is Shaka Smart the right person to lead our program going forward? And that's the question only Chris Del Conte really is going to answer.
$7 million to buy him out on top of $15 million to buy out Tom Herman, man. That's a lot of buyout money. But again, you're moving into the new building.
It's Texas. That's pocket change, man.
You got to go to the secondary couch to find that loose change, but it's there.
But Jason, do enough people care about this basketball program to put $7 million down while you're also trying to fund the south end zone and the new arena and all of these things that continue? Are there enough people that care about basketball? Enough people care about football. We know that. But do enough people care about the basketball program? You look at
enough
crowds
people
at games
care when they lose to Abilene Christian. Enough people care when they lose to Abilene Christian.
No. Listen, though. This is what I really believe in. Look at the crowds at the games the last 10 years. Nobody goes. They have very little support on a consistent basis. Even when they were ranked number 1 in the country under Rick Barnes, they couldn't sell a place out. I'm just interested to see what that actually looks like as you move forward, because that's a lot of money no matter how you look at it. People care, and they go onto social media and they care, and they want to yell to fire Shaka Smart. I get all that. That's the way the world works now. But the reality of it is you still got to pay out $7 million and then go hire a new coach who you're going to have to pay a lot more money right after you've done that with football. So there is a lot to be said for all of those things combined.
Well, when you try to fill the McConaughey Center here in a couple of years, you're certainly going to need a lead name to fill that place. He's Bob Ballou of KI Sports. So spring football starts tomorrow. Talk about the quarterbacks. So who are we looking for? A sophomore, a junior? Who's going to be the starter after this?
Yes, correct. We are. That's what we're looking for. Correct. It's going to be one of those two.
That's all we got.
That's all I got. No, look, I mean, I think it's going to be which one fits into what Steve Sarkisian wants to do, in his offense. I think Sark is – I really enjoy – we talked to him today for 30 minutes. I really enjoy his the genuineness he brings when he talks about things. And he talked today a whole lot about, listen, I'm giving everybody a clean slate. I wasn't asking them what did they do last year? What problems did they have? He goes, I'm literally just saying it's a clean slate across the board. We've worked out now for 3 months. We've been together for 3 months. We're going to go into spring football. Everyone that's here gets to go prove that they deserve a spot on the field. And I just think the way he's approaching this is really, number one, going to win over a lot of players. And it's going to build some real competition. I think what he did at Alabama obviously gives those players a lot of inspiration, what they hope they can be. But it's going to take time. This isn't something that just happens overnight, even though they have a ton of talent. And I mean, I guess I'm saying that it takes time to become a college football playoff type team every single year. Who knows what they're going to be? I mean, they were 7-3 last year, and Casey Thompson looked incredible in that Alamo Bowl win, and everybody raves about Hudson Card. So they've got a lot of really promising talent on the roster, and now it's just going to be, can they adhere to what Steve Sarkisian wants to do, over the next 4 or 5 months to implement everything, and then how will it look when they come out in August and September?
What is the mood around the 40 acres around Austin football fans? It seems awful quiet down here in San Antonio when you think about UT football. And I realize, the protocols in place are keeping a lot of people at bay, so you don't get the same info. But when you think about when Charlie Strong was getting ready for his first spring practice or Tom Herman getting ready for his, is there any noticeable difference right now between those two and what you're seeing and hearing from Sark?
First of all, Jason, protocols don't keep people from doing anything. I think we've learned that by now.
Sure.
We're not worried about all that stuff.
I know you've been in that locker room daily trying to check what the new posters and charts might be, right?
Oh yeah, we're not going to have a pee hydration chart, I don't think. What I will
put one up in my bathroom. I leave one for my wife. I want to make sure she's a team player.
Are you a good teammate? That's all we want to know.
That's what I want to know, man.
Listen, I think it's funny. I described this the other night on the air as a calm hype because I think everyone is very excited. I think everyone is very kind of on the edge of their seats to see how this plays out. But with Herman, it was very much like, okay, we got through this, 16-21 record with Charlie Strong. Let's move on to Tom Herman. Like, we're excited. Like, this is going to be great. He went 22-2 in Houston. He beats every, ranked team. This is going to be awesome. With Steve Sarkisian, it's kind of like, look, this is something I've said. When he was at Washington for 5 years, the best he did was win 9 games. There is a lot to prove, not just for the Texas football players, but there's still a lot for Sark to prove. And I don't think that's an unfair criticism. I think, he's obviously done some great things since he's gone through everything he went through. He's learned a lot from what happened at Alabama. Obviously, you can't just give him all the credit in the world for that because that train was rolling long before he got there. But they were still impressive under him. And I think that's what you take into this is, sure, do they want to be Alabama? Of course. Are they going to be Alabama? If they are, it's not going to be in the first 3 years. So, where do they go under him? To me, is I think why it's so calm right now. And everybody's kind of going, look, we've been through this before. Let's wait 5-6 months before we start like losing our minds over all this stuff. He's not going to lose to Maryland in his first game, which is a good start. And then you can kind of, move forward from there and see what happens.
Bob Ballou of KI Sports joining us here on ESPN San Antonio. The one thing we can assure is they're not losing to Maryland to start this thing out.
Well, we
Bob,
can say that. I mean, and for the record, Abilene Christian has not scored since we started this conversation. It's now UCLA 26, Abilene Christian 12. It's like 8-minute scoring drought.
They emptied their bank account the other night. I mean, it's void and dry, and it's enough. They can live on it for the next 10 years. Hey, Bob, thanks for stopping by, man. Enjoy your golf this week.
I mean, how many teams can do that now with Texas? That's what I think is the scary part. I mean, Maryland, like I just mentioned one, like for forever. I mean, Texas won't play Maryland ever again, probably. And they'll be like, yeah, we swept y'all in football. I mean, like there are a bunch of programs right now that have that. And I think that's why everybody's excited about Sark, excited about the future, even in the women's program with Vic Schaefer, with David Pearson, Texas baseball. Every other program right now is doing great things. It's just a matter of how do you get it consistently in football and how do you get it consistently in basketball? And that's what we're going to see if they can do.
It's going to be interesting to watch Sark and the way he handles all of what Texas football is, because he seemed like a pretty laid-back guy in the past. He's had a good taste of what goes on there in Bama with Saban. It looks like so far he's playing it the right way. That's guardedly optimistic.
Real quick, I had a great conversation with our weekend anchor today, and I was like, we had this interview with Sark today. He's just so California cool. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just a cool dude from California, whatever. And our weekend guy's from California, and he goes, he's from L.A. It's really funny because he and Tom Herman actually grew up probably 45 minutes to an hour apart, somewhere in that vicinity. He goes, Tom is the exact opposite. Like, Tom was anything but the cool, laid-back California dude. So it's kind of funny to see Sark in these settings. And obviously, you got to hit adversity, and we'll see what he's like in those moments. But for now, I think he's just kind of like, let's take it, sit back, relax, let's enjoy this, and let's go work hard, and let's go figure out how we're going to make this happen.
Well, I think he's gone through some things that make him realize I've got to worry about the stuff that's worth worrying about, and the rest of it will just take care of itself, man. Life is too short.
Absolutely, man. That's
no doubt.
Chill attitude.
I think that, no, 100%. Yeah, hey, I'm with you guys 100%. All
Thanks
right,
for
guys.
stopping by, Bob. You're a good man. Have some fun with Jordan Spieth this week. Wave at him.
Will do.
All right. I was going to say go hug him, but you can't do that. Thank Bob Ballou for stopping by. The Texas football program, I'm interested because I think he hit something on the head there. That attitude that Sark has is so different from, I would go back to early 2000 before you look back to those early years when Texas was first getting going, where it was kind of a low key, we're pretty good, we're about to prove it to you, instead of we are good and we don't need to prove it to you kind of attitude. Hey, coming back, Mike Tyson could have had $25 million, chose not to. We'll tell you why or how it came to pass in just a second. Hang on tight. We got a lot to talk about. Spurs and the tournament and Cowboys talk all just around the corner. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and then on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Nobody plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. Whether it's you, a family member, a friend of yours, you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, the best way to do that is by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or go to the website mybestbailbonds.com. You can even start the bonding process there online. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. License number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. You're down at the coast, in the valley, up in Dallas, anywhere in between. AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121 or online, mybestbailbonds.com.
It's time for ESPN San Antonio's Big Score. This hour's keyword is Riverwalk. Enter that keyword at ESPNSA.com for your chance to win $1,000. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app anytime, anywhere. Listen to more than 300 stations along with more than 3,000 podcasts from your home area or across the U.S., all free.
With the radio.com app.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Marquette Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have 2 cats, Zeke and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you'll want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com. I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynavite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard Dynavite for cats was coming out because I've seen the changes in my dog. To introduce my cats to Dynavite, I took the advice from Dynavite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynavite for life.
You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up any non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen temporal scanner purchased at any retailer. With COVID continuing to spread, nothing matters more than having an accurate thermometer that's backed by more than 80 published peer-reviewed clinical studies, like the Exergen temporal scanner. Even after getting the COVID vaccine, you should be monitoring for fever to make sure you are protected. Keep your family and yourself safe by trading up your non-contact thermometer for an accurate temporal scanner and a $5 rebate from Exergen, where accuracy matters. Details at Exergen.com.
It is the Blitz. Welcome aboard. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Hey, the big score's going on right now. Give you 12 chances a day to win $1,000. All you got to do is listen on the hour between 7A and 7B. You're going to get a keyword. Take that keyword. Go to ESPNSA.com where you'll find full details. Upload it. You could win $1,000. Another reason it pays to listen to ESPN San Antonio all day, every day. The big score is back. So Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, remember how long ago was it that we heard, they were going to do a kind of a fake match? They decided to do that. But now Tyson, it got good to him. We thought that he'd want to fight. Holyfield's always out for a buck. Offered Tyson $25 million. I guess that weed farm in California must be doing pretty good.
Oh, that or it's typical boxing BS that it's all about the promotional companies that are involved because, Evander has one company and Tyson has another. Evander's people said, hey, man, we've been negotiating in good faith with Mike Tyson, and he turned down a guaranteed $25 million to fight May 29th in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium.
Why? Why are they doing this? Why?
Well, because we all want to watch a bunch of 50-year-old men fight, apparently.
I mean, see, I know that the love for Tyson and Holyfield still there. But I don't really want to see them fight. I mean, I guess I do, but
I mean, Mike is 54 and Holyfield is 58. They fought each other twice. As Holyfield said, a third fight is, quote, must happen for both our legacies. Not really, because what we saw before was exactly that. It was a show. And we are willing to pay money for a show. And with Mike Tyson, you never know what you're going to get. So you're going to spend your money because you never know what you're going to get. I mean, I would say he'd put Tabasco on the other ear and go get it. Why not?
We had Jeremy Piven on not long ago, and he's hosting a podcast with Tyson.
Yep.
And this isn't a shock, but evidently Tyson is high literally all the time.
Well,
I mean, it's not a surprise. The dude owns a farm.
Quality control before he sells it. He's got to make sure it's adequate, I suppose.
So do we want to pay money for at least one very high, late middle-aged man fight? against another guy who probably had one too many fights as well. I'm trying to figure out why 25 million. That's a lot of money, which I guess it'll be recouped. I think it would have been if we were in lockdown and we didn't have anything else to watch or do. And that's why I think we paid attention to it last time. But sports are kind of open now, and this isn't really even a fight.
If they're playing in Miami at Hard Rock or fighting at Hard Rock Stadium, I would imagine the $25 million, if they're guaranteeing that, that's got to be covered by the sponsors, ticket sales, projected tickets. I mean, because that's what Tyson was guaranteed. What was Evander guaranteed? So you have your guarantee and then you get your percentage of the pay-per-view. So I'm guessing sponsors are willing to put this money out because they know we're going to watch it. And I'm also guessing one of those sponsors, probably a weed farm that would allow them to sell some product, right? I mean,
let's just get real heavyweights. Let's just get the regular ones. Can we get Wilbur and the Romani guy, the champ, right? Can we get those guys back? Can we just watch a real heavyweight fight instead of one that should have been fought 30 years ago?
Well, again, you would think, but I'm telling you, I didn't see the first one, but apparently it was everything to pay for it just to hear Snoop Dogg commentating. So, it's a show. It's a show. It's not necessarily about the fight. It's all about the entire show. But if Tyson was guaranteed 25, Snoop ain't cheap. What is Evander going to get? I mean, we're probably talking $100 million. And maybe that's why.
Well, because
Mike wants the biggest piece of the
Well, I mean, Mike could pay Snoop in product.
So might be cheaper to write him a check.
Maybe, but either way, he can take care of the product side of things and actually get it done. And why are they going to do it in Florida? They should go fight someplace where what Mike likes to do before and after and Snoop likes to do during can actually happen legally instead of going down someplace where everybody gets arrested right before the fight.
Because Florida is open. Nevada is not. California is not. Florida is open.
Well, now.
I mean,
they're running people off right now. The streets are being bulldozed away. In Miami Beach.
Just as a certain part of Miami Beach. That's South Beach area just for spring break because they have forgotten about COVID down there.
This retro thought with boxing, I never thought would have been a thing. Coming back, let's talk the NCAA tournament. We know your brackets are in a shambles. Let's try to figure out why this happened. I mean, it has been one of the best tournaments of all time, and we're not even watching Duke or Kentucky or other Blue Bloods actually play. We'll talk lots of tournament, talk some Dallas Cowboys. They have signed a safety. Now, he'd been hurt a little bit, had a good year last year, knows Quinn's system. We'll look at what they did and how that'll affect the rest of free agency. We also have some Zeke news as well. Jack Thompson of the Post Up. My son will join us at 6. Continuing looking at the tournament, game night San Antonio with Jill Jelnick as we get ready for them fighting Charlotte Hornets, the ballless, and I say that with a smile on my face, the ballless Hornets will be coming to San Antonio tonight. They're ballless. They are minus 1 ball.
Uh-huh.
He's not going to be available.
Who's been compared to Manu, who is also minus 1 ball.
It all comes together, doesn't it? It is the string theory of sports. It all gathers together. Hey, coming back, let's look at the tourney and make sense of how we got here. Who's the best team we saw? Hold on here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. 1 ball amongst them all, right there. On the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Phrasing.
The latest on your silver and black.
DeMar is playing as good a basketball as he's ever played. He's playing as good a ball as he ever played in Toronto when he was an all-star. He's doing more with less. My concern is, does that matter to him? Because if it does, that's one strike against the Spurs where if you play here, even if you play well, you're not going to get the notoriety, and the fans aren't going to dive in and help you and vote you to an all-star game if you're worried about things like that. Could be another reason for him to leave.
The Blitz, weekdays 4 to 7, 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
My name is Jessica. I work in banking and I'm a busy mom and wife. Years ago, I was diagnosed with a thyroid condition. I slept all the time, was fatigued, had no energy, and a bad attitude. My doctor kept telling me my labs were in the normal range, but I knew something was wrong. My husband heard about the Institute for Functional Health, and we decided to make an appointment. It was very emotional because finally somebody heard me. They explained that a normal range may not be normal for me, and they would help figure out exactly what was wrong. I had hope, and I had answers and a doctor-supervised plan. Now I've lost 50 pounds, and I'm still losing. My medications have been scaled back, my emotions are stable, and I have lots of energy. I even went clothes shopping in my own closet. People at work say I'm happy, perky, and my husband says he's not walking on eggshells around me any longer. The Institute for Functional Health changed my life.
Call for your complimentary consultation, 210-468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health.
Howdy, howdy. This is the Texas original Mother's Window Tint, announcing a special edition for a limited time only. Mother's Window Tint will be discounting everything in the store. Plus, Mother's Window Tint now sells Alpine car stereo equipment and Python auto security. That means managers will make you a deal directly at a discount. Austin, San Antonio, and everyone within the sound of my voice, get to Mother's Window Tint this coming Monday for special edition discounts on car stereos, window tint, auto alarms, and remote start systems. Make your car go thump, 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 mother thump. Start your car by remote control and save over $100 on Monday. Mother's Window Tint sells and installs the best window film on earth, and we can prove it. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
Nigel, why are these boxes all over the office?
Glad you asked, Joel. Since you're such a popular guy, I give you the latest Quarter Moon swag.
First off, I didn't approve any merchandise requests, and...
Now. Just take a look at some of these famously inspired T-shirts.
Kiss me, I'm Joel.
Remember the Joel.
Enjoy Coca-Cola?
My parents went to see Joel, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
Folks, our slogan is simple. From the outhouse to the penthouse, we can plumb it and we can cool it. At Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC, you have a whole team of Texas' best plumbers and AC technicians ready to fix every leaky faucet, busted pipe, or that cranky AC unit that needs repair.
And you've got me.
Nigel, how much did all these T-shirts cost?
Joel, how attached to your pickup truck are you?
I'm about to show you my Don't Mess with Joel T-shirt.
Uh-oh.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. 210-651-5899. License number M13229 TACLA 000743458.
From the Mother's Window Tint Studios. Online at motherswindowtint.com. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. KZDC San Antonio. Jason Minutes. Rob Thompson. The Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on ESPN San Antonio. Welcome aboard. Hope your Monday's been going better than your brackets. He is Jason Minix.
I'm in first place.
Yeah, congratulations. Well earned.
It won't last, so I got to celebrate while I can.
Hey, you
I'm like Evelyn Christian right now.
You still have a champion playing, a potential champion. Many of us, although at least those of us that like the fighting Illini, who fell in love with the Oasis, well, not the Oasis, the mirage that was the Big Ten, are suffering today. It's been an utterly fantastic tournament. If you were not a fan or didn't know what you were getting into, just wanting to watch some basketball, you've watched nothing but great games. I'll tell you, Saturday and Sunday both was literally one game after another, and it was either a massive blowout or right there. I mean, both teams had an opportunity with 2 minutes to go. So it's been enjoyable. I'm really eager to see what the viewership is. I think it's going to continue to grow. You know, when we went into this, we knew it was going to be crazy, Jason. But we don't have the blue bloods around, and it's even more striking when you look at who's in the Sweet 16 and who's going. Lots of those mid-range schools. I put it to you. We can go ahead and get rid of one and done. It's not needed. It's not required. And I think what we are seeing is this parity across college basketball that lends itself to the tournament's greatness. It really is. There isn't but two schools. I'll give Baylor a little bit more credit. Two schools that you go into thinking there's no way they can lose, or at least I'm going to give them every possible benefit of my choice. But after that, it is still a crapshoot. And I think that has made the tournament so much better because we're not dealing with those schools that traffic in freshmen, that just traffic in one and dones and then restock the next year.
I think a couple of things that you're seeing in this year's tournament, and the upsets at least by the Vegas line, are showing it. Coming into today, over the first 3 days, 19 Vegas line upsets, which is pretty incredible when you see where the lines were and that sort of thing. But with the transfer rule and the juniors and seniors that you're seeing, especially this weird COVID year, you're dealing with more mature players that have a lot more experience. And I think, when you look at a guy that was here and now he's kind of at a mid-major or vice versa, he's played some of those big schools. I don't think they're intimidated by walking onto the floor and seeing Texas across the chest going, well, we've already lost this game. Let's go have fun. It's let's go get them. We can hang. And, you saw what Abilene Christian did in the Southland Conference tournament. You knew they were going to give some teams some problems. I didn't think it would be Texas. I thought the Texas game would be similar to what we're seeing them do right now against UCLA. They're playing all right, but they're not playing above their head. But UCLA isn't making mistake after mistake to beat themselves.
We know Gonzaga has looked fantastic, certainly.
Although, boy, they got a good test early today against Oklahoma. I don't know if you got to see any of that game, but early on, Oklahoma looked like they were game. But Oklahoma quickly ran out of gas, and Gonzaga found their stride and ended up winning going away. But the first 10 minutes of that game probably had some Gonzaga people puckering and OU people getting above themselves, which is pretty common.
Baylor has played like Baylor should. It's certainly no surprise there. Other than that, what's the best team you've seen apart from the two most obvious?
Loyola looks really good. I mean, yes. Loyola looks better than the team that was in San Antonio a couple of years ago. I mean, I heard one of the announcers say that, their coach said that this team would beat that team from a couple years ago. And I thought, well, that's just coach speak talking about, his team coming in. And you watch those boys play and, man, they are legit. They are legit good. And hats off to the Pac-12 teams. I mean, Oregon got a bit of a rest and they smoked a team today. Because they got a pass through because of COVID in the first round. But I think for somebody that told me that the Pac-12 sucks, and you've got zero respect for Pac-12
You're going to keep
basketball.
Bringing that up. You're going to keep harping on that as they played in their own little bubble on the West Coast. They didn't go play anybody, and every time I watched those last games to try to save a bad gambling day, it wasn't helping. They very easily kind of hid their improvement, and I think what we're seeing is these teams are peaking just now, where we saw the Big Ten. To some extent, those teams had to peak a week and a half ago, get ready for this bruising tournament and try to find some seeding. The Pac-12 teams just look fresher. They look like there's more bounce. They look like they came in with no pressure on their backs because no one, I think, gave them any credit. And they were playing better basketball than we gave them credit for, while the Big Ten was playing great games, but maybe not so much great basketball, if that makes some sense.
It does. And you look at Oregon State, the way they took out Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State, and another team. And again, they're an 11 seed, but Syracuse looks like a team that, I don't know if their seeding is accurate, but, they're tournament ready. They're playing good basketball. Houston Syracuse is going to be an incredible game. Barely surviving Rutgers in a crazy game, but Houston and Baylor, the two Texas teams that are going to be left after UCLA finishes off ACU. We started with 7.
Well, I mean, we started with 7, and respectfully, they all won their first. It was I think a banner year, the best that the state of Texas had. We've talked about this all year, that Texas is now a basketball state. Crazy as it may seem, the output kind of equals that. At least we're going to continue to say that till tomorrow when Texas football actually practices, and then we'll go back to being a football state. But today we're a basketball state. I like the Syracuse story. I don't think they were underseeded. I think they were seeded appropriate. That was a 500 team in the ACC. They weren't that good. The team that was underseeded was Loyola Chicago. That team was discounted. Even when you looked at all the different statistical ranking systems that the committee uses to pick, they were a top 5 or 6 team in several teams in several different categories, and probably deserved a 3 or a 4 seed, but certainly not as low as they got. And that's unfortunate, but we didn't really know. And I think the Pac-12, I don't think anybody expected what we're seeing except those that were in the Pac-12. I don't think anybody expected to see the Pac-12 do what they've been doing because they didn't play enough outside of their conference for us to get any gauge. And the fact is, most of these teams were playing most of the year with 1 or 2 guys out with COVID. Oregon is a prime example. This is the first time they've been healthy basically all year with all their guys. And when they were all there, man, they look good and fresh, and they're playing tournament-style basketball, the kind of things you got to do to win. UCLA falls into that category as well.
And again, I think – we'll look at tournament record. It's almost like bowl season, right? When you go, well, the SEC is what and what in the bowl games. Are they overrated? And maybe we're looking that way at the Pac-12. And you're right. I think the criticism coming in was fair, but they also had some favorable matchups. Maybe we overrated the Big Ten, maybe overrated the Big 12 a little bit, underrated the Pac-12, but that's where you see this balance, but some of it's matchups. I mean, there were some pretty favorable matchups there, although UCLA might be the biggest surprise. They win their play-in game against Michigan State in a wild one. And they get another win, and they're going to beat ACU today. Nobody, every bracket would have had Texas playing Michigan State here, right? Nobody had UCLA this point, including UCLA.
They got a cake one today, but the BYU game, that was impressive. That's a team that you could tell after the Michigan State said we're good, and they realized that Juzang became that guy that went to Kentucky that was supposed to be the superstar that's kind of slinked back to UCLA in California and became that guy. And the what's his name, Jaquez? He is a straight hooper. He has a huge bag. He is a fun guy to watch.
In the game tonight is Kansas USC, right? And you look at Kansas, could that be the one blue blood? You don't have the Dukes and the Kentuckys and all that. But if Kansas beats USC tonight, and I don't want to say I expect them to, because quite frankly, in this tournament, we've seen so many unexpected things, but I do expect Kansas to beat USC tonight. But if they don't, then you start looking at all the Pac-12 teams in the Sweet 16, man. That would be shocking.
Kansas has got a tall order. Those Mobley brothers are good. And McCormick is, 1 game back. It's going to be difficult to defend down low. I think USC is going to give Kansas everything they can handle, if not more so. I think that's a toss-up game. Kansas is going to have to play their best game to beat USC. That's another team that just continued to impress, and that's about 15 feet of Mobley brother that they're going to roll out tonight. That's a big front line, and Kansas, they're not used to that. McCormick is not the same guy as Azubuike was the last several years. It's the tournament continues. Keep in mind you can catch it all right here, and make sure you're keeping up with our mayhem brackets. And after that $100 gift card to Pinkerton's Barbecue downtown, the numbers are going. Jason's not going to be able to win that. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. He might win it all in all. Gonzaga or Baylor might take it all the way through, and you'll be first. Guess what? He doesn't get the gift card.
I'm not eligible, but I'll get a nice steak from Rob Thompson, and
why would you get a steak from me?
Well, why not?
Well, I guess there must be something going on there. I didn't lose anything. I picked Illinois in one. I picked Gonzaga in another, and Baylor in a third. So I'm going to end up happy, I think. I'm going to pick the champ, and I haven't done that in quite some time. And we got a long time.
Watch Michigan win it all.
Long time. If Michigan, without Livers, that would be an amazing move. Don't forget Jack Thompson, our resident basketball hoop head, will join us at 6 o'clock as we look at the tournament and look forward to tonight and then Saturday's Sweet 16 games. Coming up next, the Cowboys were busy this week and got them a brand new safety. We'll talk about what they're doing and how he will apply coming up next here on the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, and you need your logo on gear, you know you need to get into Sammy's Embroidery Club over there on San Pedro. You need your logo on masks, on shirts, on jackets, on caps, beanies, hoodies, half zips. You know, you're opening the office back up. People need new work shirts for that professional look around the office. Get into Sammy's Embroidery Club. Nobody has better prices. Sam has all the big name brands, and he's the only company in Texas with one-day turnaround. No order too small, certainly no order too big. Check the website, samsembroidery.com, or go visit that massive showroom on San Pedro. It's 1 mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's. All items do come with a warranty, and you work with Sammy on your project. He's the owner, and he's by his phone right now. Call him 210-824-3900, 824-3900 for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
Sundays are for the grill. The Sunday Sports Grill, 11 in the morning to 1. Chop it up and grill with former and current Rock the Mic champs Michael Jimenez and Quinn Hudson. The Sunday Sports Grill, 11 to 1 every Sunday.
I'm craving adventure.
Thought we decided not to take a vacation this year.
I was thinking about a trip to Total Wine. Let's fling into spring. They have thousands of wines, spirits, and beers to explore. We can mix up cocktails with tequilas and fruit-flavored vodkas, Chardonnays, Rosés, Pinots, Proseccos. So many choices.
Oh, yeah. A trip to Total Wine is totally worth it.
Wondrous selection, helpful guides, always low prices. Total Wine and more. Drink responsibly, B21.
Hey, we get it. You don't want to be hearing a Progressive commercial right now, so let us tell you something you do want to hear. No one is funnier than you. People laugh just thinking about the things you've said. I'm laughing at one of them right now. Coworkers repeat your jokes at the office, but they're never as good as when you tell them, and shame on them for trying. There. Don't you feel better? You'll also feel better knowing you could save when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Although I'm sure you'd have a funnier way to say that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
This is for the men who never settle. The ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie. The type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. And the men who use PTO to catch afternoon basketball in March with the boys. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain, pain associated with arthritis, or even an old injury? Well, listen carefully because there are new breakthrough treatments now available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative cell therapies from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Hey, it's James Pledger. These revolutionary treatments not only alleviate your pain, they speed up the healing process. We're talking regenerative cell and platelet-rich plasma therapies. All new solutions that really work. If you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, lower back, you may be able to avoid invasive surgery with these proven non-surgical options with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. Call now. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. If you've got chronic pain and you want to avoid surgery and steroids, call QC Kinetics in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Call now, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 571-0318.
Welcome aboard. Don't mind them brake lights. We'll get you all the way home. You're on the Blitz. You're on ESPN San Antonio. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Hey, you want to talk to us? Lots of ways to reach out. 656-3776. That's 656-ESPN. If you're looking at one of those old-fashioned phones, you can dial that. Our Twitter feed at Rob Thompson ESPN, at Jason Minix, at I Am Pleasure. I want to thank everybody listening and watching around the different media circles. If you're on our YouTube channel, like Redbird's Junkie, thank you for joining us. All you Facebook Livers as well. Reach out to us however you see fit, but reach out and touch us. You know, when you look at what the Cowboys are doing, first of all, Dan Quinn, new defensive coordinator, comes in and juxtapose what he's going through against what Nolan went through when he was first hired. Nolan shows up as the defensive coordinator. COVID falls in his lap. Everything's bad. And on top of having to implement a system through the COVID protocols, which didn't work, he didn't have anybody that had ever played for him to kind of teach the guys what he really wanted. And I'm not saying that's his excuse, but there is a reason. I don't think they were quite picked up on it because nobody could really teach him on the regular, I think, to kind of do what he wanted to get done. Quinn, on the other hand, has been looking to his former guys. Finally signs. We're calling him a safety. I guess Keanu Neal, in the broadest sense of the word, is going to be a safety. But the best thing about it, Jason, is it because he knows the system and kind of can help to coach those guys to go do what Quinn wants them to do above and beyond just the skull sessions that each room would have?
Well, I mean, it's a 1-year, $5 million deal. And, so you're getting a really good player, the best player they've probably had at the position in more than a handful of years, if he can come in and be healthy. And although there's already been talk about kind of a hybrid position for him, whether he's a true safety or, a little bit of linebacker in there.
A box safety? Is that what they're calling this new position? A box safety. All right.
See, when you think about like arena football, you've got your jack linebacker that stays in a box. It's just it's the same kind of concept, I think, when I read that term and what he's going to do. But obviously, he also will help people with the buy-in process of what Quinn is going through. It's odd that, you had this 1-year hiatus. They kept Kellen Moore to try to keep consistency with the offense. They did not use that same philosophy on defense. So now you've got another coordinator, but going back to a philosophy that a lot of the guys have played with, but there's also been a lot of roster turnover on that defensive side. So if you're Dan Quinn, you want to go get some people that have a really good idea of what he is going to do. And more importantly, he's got an idea of what the player can do within his system. And there's got to be some trust there for them to go get him.
The Cowboys were biblically bad, epically bad on defense, to the point where, like, literally one of the worst defenses in the history of the NFL. When you see Neal come in, and one of the problems, we weren't very good about stopping the run. The Cowboys weren't very good about stopping the run, but they weren't very good about stopping the pass either. What does this tell you if they are bringing in this hybrid safety that can play a little weak side linebacker? Does that affect the future of Jalen Smith? Is this a move to kind of work on his? Okay, I want to make sure.
I don't think so. I think when I think about the box safety, and again, the injury history that he's had, he's going to find his way onto the field. But also, as well as Donovan Wilson played last year, you don't want to stunt his growth. We've seen the Cowboys do that before. Let's say tight end with Jason Witten, where you had a guy that was coming along pretty good, and Witten decided to pop back in and take all the snaps for a year, right? And so I don't think they want to do that. But there's some insurance policy of what you saw from Donovan was kind of a flash in the pan, or if he can develop into the kind of player they want to make sure they're both out there on the field.
Donovan Wilson fighting Texas Aggie. He's going to be in a Ring of Honor. What are you talking about, man? We are just scratching the surface of the greatness that Donovan Wilson is going to bring to the table.
Good Lord.
Well, we'll continue to talk safeties. I know that DeMonte Kazee is in town. Malik Hooker. They're still looking to sign maybe another safety. Is this when I see what they're doing here, and I hear that they guaranteed Zeke's contract this year, $12.4 million guaranteed off the top. Now they do that for salary cap ramifications, because now that it's guaranteed, they can kind of manipulate how he's paid and free some more room in the cap, right?
Well, yeah, him and Amari Cooper, but part of it was just the date on the calendar. Your contract's going to be guaranteed at a certain point. So it wasn't like it was some weird, I know it makes headlines because it's the Dallas Cowboys, but, if they were going to do something and move away from them, they would have to do it now. It's guaranteed, no big deal. I doubt, they could restructure his contract. I doubt they'll restructure Amari's, just because Amari's is very easy to get out of next year if they decide next year they want to get out of his contract. So it's just a date on the calendar, one of those automatic things that trigger. But if there was any question on whether or not they were going to be there, like just flat out get released or something along those lines, at least now it would cost them way too much money. They would have already had to do that. So I don't read too much into that, except for they do have some flexibility. If there is a free agent out there that they need to get, where they can convert some money, into a signing bonus to free up cap space to go get that player, like maybe say an Alden Smith, and Alden is still available out there. He hasn't signed with anybody. I saw Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News tweet earlier today that while they think he's a good fit, they're trying to decide if they want to bring him back. And I'm not sure if because the contract demands are out of what they're willing to do, but by all accounts, they loved Alden Smith and he loved being a Dallas Cowboy. So the only reason I would say he isn't back is if somebody else just throws a ton of money at him. But this is that weird year where you're seeing kind of like Neal, $3 million to sign, $5 million total on a 1-year contract. I don't know that Alden wants a 1-year contract. I think that's a guy that would like to have some long-term stability and probably a pretty nice signing bonus because he was out of football for so long. So maybe he comes back to Dallas. I don't want to say cheaper, but over a longer contract, and then you'd have to go and look at what years are voidable, but the bigger signing bonus. I'm surprised he hasn't signed somewhere yet, which maybe his asking price is too high. But I would be surprised right now that he's not back with the Cowboys since he's already gone through a week of free agency and doesn't have a contract.
The pundits, everybody that I'm reading is saying one of the things that they're interesting about what the Cowboys are doing is there's a lot of flexibility in the men that they're bringing in, that they're capable of playing other positions. You get the feeling that last year, all of the injuries, they feel snake bit. I don't think the Cowboys are ever going to find themselves in a situation where there is literally nobody to play a position like they ran into several times at linebacker, at safety, or whatever the case may be on defense. And we haven't begun with the offensive line. They're making sure that they are deep in the positions they have to have healthy.
I don't want to use the basketball term of positionless, but there is flexibility. I mean, we've seen it and talk about it a lot on the offensive line. You got the entire receiving core coming back, so you're good there. Maybe you add a tight end in the draft. I mean, offensively, they're set on the defensive side, and some of this has to do with what does Dan Quinn want to do. You get a safety who can also play nickel linebacker, and the way offenses are going, you need that nickel guy, whether it's a nickel corner, nickel linebacker, whatever you want to call it. You need the guy that can cover, but that can come in and stop the run. Somebody that's going to go hit you. On the defensive line, with this new system, you want guys that can play both in and out, or is he just an in? How many snaps are you going to get out of him? Same with the linebackers, some flexibility there. Because, I mean, you look at the linebackers alone. You've got Jalen and Leighton Vander Esch. Well, Leighton has proven he is injury prone. Can you rely on him? Jalen has proven unreliable even if he's out there, but he can be really good. We don't know what's going to happen with Sean Lee. Justin March Lillard hasn't signed anywhere yet. You brought back, or you still have Luke Gifford still on the roster, but you got to go get some help there, and maybe that's where Keanu Neal might. If they can't get the right guy, they've got a Neal there that can come in and help some. But I imagine that you've got to see another linebacker, too, that they're going to go get in free agency, not rookies that are coming in, which is why I kind of think at the right price, we're going to see another year of Sean Lee, who the last 2 years has actually been really good, although we're ready to push him out the door and we're ready to move on from Sean Lee. But he has been the most consistent at the position the last 2 years when a lot of Cowboy fans thought he should have been on the coaching staff at that point.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm with you. I'm with you right now. When we come back, let's talk some. I'm looking at this Deshaun Watson story, and how many accusers are we up to now? 12.
841.
We got 12 lawsuits.
I think if you go to Pro Football Talk, you know how their headlines grow. It's like. It goes, boom, another one, boom, another one, boom, another one. I think we're now at 6 more added today, so a total of 13 lawsuits. What I find interesting is how they're couching them now. Only 6 of them are actually from licensed massage therapists, which makes me think that the others are unlicensed therapists or just ladies offering a massage through Instagram.
And that will be tried, I'm sure, quite heavily. We're going to talk about what Deshaun is going through, what the Texans are going through, and how, John McClain tweeted today that despite the conspiracy, he still expects him to get moved. Let's talk about the Texans coming up next here on the Blitz. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
You know, injuries do happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. From a minor sprain to a compound fracture, TSAOG Orthopedics has got you covered. Not all injuries do require surgery. Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries. He also does concussion baseline testing. There's no reason for you to be in pain. If you're hurting, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. They do have telemedicine services available through OrthoConnect. If you're hurting, TSAOG Orthopedics. Start online, TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com.
Game Nights The Blitz focuses on your silver and black in depth for 30 minutes. Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
This is Matt Bonner.
Spend your game nights with us. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Going for a few days without water, then being told to boil your water when it came back on, that got a lot of people thinking, is my tap water safe? Hey, this is David Van Camp. Alamo Water Softeners can help you out. They've got top-of-the-line water softeners and filtration systems. They'll come out to your house for a free water analysis and explain what they can do for you. And Alamo Water Softeners is a 2020 neighborhood favorite on Nextdoor. Go to alamowatersofteners.com to schedule a free water analysis. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Indeed knows unexpected demand can stretch your business thin.
Leon speaking.
Like at Leon's Plumbing.
Sorry, quickest we can get there is next Friday.
To stay out of hot water, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Most of us don't think about our brakes until we need to think about our brakes. Jason Minix here for NewBrakes.com, NUBrakes.com. They are a mobile brake shop. They will come to you to fix your brakes. We all like things to be easy and convenient, and New Brakes has done that with brake repair. They will come to your home or office or wherever you are. Busy work schedule, no problem. Relaxing at the house, no worries. New Brakes comes to you, and they will repair your brakes while you do whatever it is you do. At New Brakes, they only fix brakes. New Brakes provides convenient and affordable brake repairs without the normal upsells traditional repair shops love to give you once your car is up on the lift. Most repairs are done in less than an hour. New Brakes uses premium brake parts, and they back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go read all the 5-star reviews. If your brakes are squeaking or grinding, go to newbrakes.com and schedule your repair. Save 10% when you mention my name or ESPN. Newbrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com.
When it comes to social distancing, if 6 feet is not enough with your spouse, it's probably time to change your status. Call the Divorce Dude with Polling Law PLLC. The Divorce Dude will help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude will fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. Call George, the Divorce Dude, 210-201-0303. That's 210-201-0303 or DivorceDude.com.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, James, that order just doubled. We got to move fast here.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
Somebody pick up that phone.
Like at Luca's Gourmet Frozen Pizza Company. To operate at scale, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
It's the Blitz. ESPN San Antonio and Kitchens designed by Giovanni. We got something great going on. Serving those who serve. want you to nominate a deserving service member, and they can win a complete shower remodel. This is awesome. All you got to do is go to ESPNSA.com. Tell us a little bit about the service member that you're nominating. Get 150 words, kind of like a tweet. And you could very easily have them win a complete remodel like that. This is awesome. We're excited about this. Go to ESPNSA.com for all of the details. It's brought to you by the Institute for Functional Health, Helen's Money Team, Guild Mortgage. For complete rules, check it all out here at ESPNSA.com. So the Deshaun Watson story, at what point we're piling on now, right? Your point's made. I know that this is each individual case has its own merits and all need to be tried in a court of law according to where we sit, but money is going to be paid. At some point, this is all about the money. I wonder what the end game is for the attorney here. How many names do we have to have before we reach a critical mass, or he has to declare some kind of class action amongst a host of 50 or some odd unlicensed masseuses and licensed masseuses or masseurs to get it all taken care of? What's the end game here? At some point, you've made your point. We got 22, 12, 13 actual lawsuits now being applied. The other 9 or 10 still floating around out there. Are we going to reach a point where it doesn't matter?
Well, I mean, look, there's got to be. I'm not a lawyer. At what point do you reach where anybody that can come out and say anything and just add to the list? I mean, this Busby guy, apparently he's run for mayor of Houston. He's neighbors with the McNairs. I'm wondering if they're enjoying barbecues together right now. I don't know. I mean, but you've got Rusty Hardin against Busby. I mean, the two biggest attorneys. I mean, this would be like, Thomas J. against Jeff Davis. I mean, here, big name attorneys that everybody knows, let's fight it out. And Deshaun Watson, I mean, like the one today, one of the ladies said that similar instances happened in July and then again in August. So you booked 2 appointments with them. The first one didn't go well, so you booked another appointment with them. I mean, there's things that you read and you go, well, now it's all and again right now it's all very civil. Or I say very civil. It's all within the civil courts. There's no criminal charges yet, although Busby apparently was going to try to provide info to the DA and let a grand jury decide if there's criminal acts that are there.
And that's what Deshaun is waiting for. I think they want to see it go to a grand jury, because if they come back no billed and no charges are filed for most of these things, it certainly does look good when you go into a civil trial, though that is certainly no defense. Civil and criminal are very different things. But as the Texans play this, as more and more come out, the slow roll here is, that at least if there was ever to be a civil trial in Harris County, we're years away from that.
Yep.
We know that the NFL's investigative process certainly has never been entirely speedy. Think back to the Zeke Elliott right after he was drafted in that mess. So we know that's going to play out slow. And, maybe at some point right now Deshaun is acquiring or, amassing enough money to pay all these girls off so they just go away and drop the lawsuit, which I am sure has been discussed as more and more names arrive. Has that turned up the pressure on the Texans any? John McClain says they're going to trade him, but as more and more come out, is that telling the Texans, look, we got to make a deal because this is just getting worse, or it doesn't matter because time is on their side?
I think it, not to sound cruel or insensitive, but when you're talking about football only, I don't think it matters. They're not going to take a lesser deal for Deshaun Watson from a team trading for them because he's still a franchise quarterback that is young and with a very bright NFL future ahead of him. Even if he is found, what's the word in civil court? You're not guilty, but you're liable or culpable or whatever the word is. Even if the courts decide against Deshaun Watson and he has to pay some money, he's still going to be able to go play football. Will he get suspended a couple of games over the morals clause in the NFL? Likely, if it gets to that point. I'm surprised from the Houston Texans standpoint that they haven't done what they needed to do to make this go away. If Busby's neighbors with McNair, and even if he's not, I mean, obviously he runs in those circles. I mean, think about, you brought up Zeke. The Cowboys made some Zeke things go away really quick. I mean, you never heard of him again, right?
Well, they had to go through the federal process. There were some injunctions thrown. I mean, they were running from courthouse to courthouse, both federal and state at some point. And the Texans haven't done that. But
no, but that was just on one of the things with Zeke. I mean, there were a couple others with Zeke where, he's in the news and then boom, all of a sudden just gone.
I don't believe the Texans want to right now. I think that they want to see their Deshaun kind of twist in the wind before they try to rescue him. But this is Deshaun's problem. I think that I don't know where Easterby sits on this because he's on the supposedly not making any personnel decisions. But if I'm Casario, I'm not doing anything right now. And I'm going to either I'm making calls because I know he's gone, which I don't believe that's going to be the play that for the Texans. They're just going to sit back and let this roll and use this as a reason for Deshaun to be here. At the end of the day, we tried to trade you. There weren't good enough offers. Maybe next year when these things go away, we can make this move. I don't know if he's going to sit out, but I can tell you this, more and more come out. He's going to have to get himself on the field. He's going to have to completely rehab his very image. And that might be playing into the Texans' decision. We're going to wait this thing out until the bitter end. We don't have to trade you today. I don't have to trade you tomorrow. I can go ahead and draft. I got a backup quarterback. I got a backup and a backup quarterback just waiting on you.
Well,
I think this is playing with more and more of the accusations. I think the Texans are just going to sit back and do nothing.
Well, they're kind of protecting them like the Chiefs protected Mahomes in the Super Bowl, man. There was no protection there. I mean, they're just leaving him out there. I'm not sure that's what you do with your franchise quarterback, but at the same time, he can't afford to lose a lot of salary with the amount of potential lawsuits coming his way. He's good. I know he signed and has this massive, massive signing bonus, but at the same time, if he doesn't play, what are the fines going to be? And you can't make that go away. I mean, there was some talk that he might opt out for COVID reasons. I don't know that would be in play. I mean, financially, he's looking at paying some pretty pricey bills, not to mention whatever Rusty Harden is charging him. I mean, that's, he's not the cheapest lawyer out there, that's for sure.
Well, it hadn't been Harden hadn't been all that busy. It's not like we've seen.
Doesn't mean his rate has gone down.
No, I'm sure he's billed at about $500 an hour, but I don't think there's been a whole lot of hours extended on Deshaun Watson's behalf. What if he had to do? We're just reading the lawsuits as they come. I'm sure
it takes 3 hours to read each one of those.
Well,
then an hour to fill out a form to retort, right? Your response is
Deshaun has millions in the bank. If initially, I think that, he thought, I'm not going to pay these one or two off. But when more and more start coming, I think I ask, what's the end game here? I think it is to pile on so many different allegations that defending them would take too much time. It would just be easier in the long run just to pay some of them off. And if you really want to get him, you're going to try the one that you're most confident that you're going to win. What's the worst one? And we'll continue after that. But you're going to if I'm either going to drop them all or none. You know what I mean?
I don't know how can he create a fund that says, maybe has like $3 million in it and just give it to Busby
fund or the fund
everybody that comes in, Busby, you vet them and decide how much they're worth getting. You go from there. I mean, is there a way to protect yourself from future lawsuits after you settle one or two of these? Because again, as you read like the one today, I mean, this therapist is claiming on two different occasions. My thought is, if you were that uncomfortable after the first one, why would you book him for a second appointment? You know what I mean? Matter. I know it doesn't matter, but in the court of public opinion, which is where Busby is trying to try this right now. And when I read that, I kind of go, well, if you were so uncomfortable the first time, why did you book a second appointment with him?
Those are the kind of questions you get to ask in court. But until then, and I don't think that question will ever be asked because I don't think we'll ever see the light of day in a courtroom. But and whether this is such a ridiculous situation that he has gotten himself into. I am sure as Deshaun Watson wakes up in the morning and he figures, this should be a good time. I should have been able to extricate myself and things would have already happened. But for the past indiscretions or alleged indiscretions, he has painted himself into a corner, the likes of which it's going to be years before he gets himself clean and back into the good graces of the NFL and the advertisers. We woke up, was it Friday morning we woke up? And the NCAA had dug a hole, the likes of which I didn't think they were going to get out of. They rebounded exceptionally well. They built and put together a weight room with fancy lights and made everybody really happy. But in the wake of the women's tournament not having appropriate weight rooms and maybe just having exercise areas, which I appreciate, the NCAA has made this situation worse. And only the NCAA could make this worse, and they managed to even after they got a little bit of a win. Let's talk about where the NCAA sits as our women's tournament's going on right here in San Antonio. Coming up next, don't forget we're talking more tournament and more Cowboys in the 6 o'clock hour, and we got game night San Antonio. The Spurs are taking on the ballless Charlotte Hornets tonight. Jelnick of YOLO and Sports2Nite will join us as we get us ready for a game that we'd like to see win. We would be excited about it. Coming back, let's look at what the NCAA has done and how they just keep sticking their foot in their mouth. Coming up here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minix here for New Breaks, nubreaks.com. New Breaks is a mobile brake shop. That means they will come to you to fix your brakes. Got a busy work schedule, relaxing at the house, no worries. Those New Breaks will come to your home, they'll come to your office, wherever you're going to be, and they'll fix your brakes without you having to interrupt your daily life. New Breaks provides convenient and affordable brake repairs, and they only fix brakes. You won't get the normal upsells a traditional repair shop would love to give you once your car is up on the lift. Most repairs are done in about an hour. New Breaks uses premium brake parts, and they back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go read all the 5-star reviews. If your brakes are bad or you think they're going bad, do us all a favor and go to nubreaks.com and get them fixed. Schedule your repair. We all like things to be easy and convenient, and New Breaks has done that with brake repair, so you have no excuse not to get your brakes fixed. nubreaks.com. Schedule your repair. Save 10% when you mention my name or ESPN San Antonio at nubreaks.com. nubreaks.com.
It's time for ESPN San Antonio's Big Score. This hour's keyword is beans. Enter that keyword at ESPNSA.com for your chance to win $1,000. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Howdy, howdy. This is the Texas original Mother's Window Tint, announcing a special edition for a limited time only. Mother's Window Tint will be discounting everything in the store. Plus, Mother's Window Tint now sells Alpine car stereo equipment and Python auto security. That means managers will make you a deal directly at a discount. Austin, San Antonio, and everyone within the sound of my voice, get to Mother's Window Tint this coming Monday for special edition discounts on car stereos, window tint, auto alarms, and remote start systems. Make your car go thump, 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 mother thump. Start your car by remote control and save over $100 on Monday. Mother's Window Tint sells and installs the best window film on earth, and we can prove it. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Does it feel like finding clothes in your fit is impossible? Tired of feeling overwhelmed with options that just aren't right? Let the experts at Stitch Fix do the shopping for you. At Stitch Fix, we make sure each piece is hand-selected for your life. So whether you're staying home or on the go, Stitch Fix has the answer for what to wear. We make it easy to find what works for you. Signing up takes just a few minutes, and styles are delivered directly to your door. Get started today at StitchFix.com. Stitch Fix, your style delivered.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
In 2003, it was rare for freshmen to carry a college basketball team, never mind two of them. But for Syracuse, Carmelo Anthony and Jerry McNamara did just that, all the way to a national championship. Anthony led the team in scoring and rebounds, while McNamara led the team in assists and was third in scoring. In the national championship game against Kansas, Carmelo was the game's leading scorer with 20, and McNamara added 18.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
March is the biggest month in college basketball where teams across the country test their talent in the hopes of winning it all. For finding talent that can help your team win it all, there's LinkedIn Jobs. Post a job with targeted screening questions, and LinkedIn will quickly get your role in front of qualified candidates. Manage job posts and contact candidates from a single view as functions are streamlined onto one simple screen. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/sports. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
It is the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. If you're on the go, know to go to ESPNSA.com. We got more tournament action tonight as we break in to salvage your sanity. If you had Abilene Christian advancing to the Sweet 16, you were wrong. They are just about to be doubled up by UCLA as the tournament continues. We'll have it on tonight and also all weekend long, taking you all the way to the Final Four. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. So the NCAA Women's Tournament is going on right now all around our fair city. They'll end up in the first weekend in April. We got us a big tournament, but the mess began as the teams arrived. We talked about it a couple times. They were given in what turns out, Jason, to be not a weight room. You misquoted, or not you, but the ladies saw that, and I thought that was supposed to be their weight room. That wasn't it at all, Jason. According to the NCAA, they hadn't put together a weight room. They put together an exercise room.
You know, Mark Emmert, trying to be nice because clearly he's not an idiot. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten to be president of the NCAA. You know, I think it was Jay Billis who said, why have we not heard from Mark Emmert on this situation? Why does the president of the NCAA not stand up and say, we messed up and we are going to get it fixed? He let his, VPs and other people take the hit and do the news conferences and apologize. The one thing that I appreciate the NCAA doing is saying this is not on the city of San Antonio or the local organizing committee. This was clearly an oversight by the NCAA. I appreciate that. But then Mark Emmert, when he finally did talk about it, did exactly what you said. He said that it was once the video's out there, the video's out there. Women for being here for all these weeks, but right by the practice court, your exercise room included yoga mats and some dumbbells, and you want us to buy that? But once the video's out there, damn it, we got to go buy them a weight room now.
It's too bad that we're arguing this, because on the other side of the tournament, the men's tournament, there are several play-by-play announcers, women play-by-play announcers that I've never heard before that are really, really quite good, that need to be on a whole lot more broadcasts, far and away from just doing tournament. Good work being done, and we should be focusing on that, because I'm almost to the point, I'm not there yet, and I can't wait to be to that point where I don't notice, as long as it's just being called well. But I am noticing the ladies that are calling the game, and they're doing spectacularly well. We should be talking about that it is now becoming commonplace in basketball. And we certainly got to, thank Miss Doris Burke for being the ceiling breaker there, for getting everybody accustomed to listen to women calling the game. To now, I just turn on the game and I know at 9:00, I'm probably going to have, I forget her name, the one that called one of the early upsets, who did a spectacular job. These women are earning regular national gigs through this tournament because they're doing the kind of work that, quite frankly, we expect them to do. It's well done. And we're focusing on something that needs to be addressed, but quite frankly, there have been successes going on during the NCAA tournament, the men's side, that have been kind of forgotten about. Outstanding work by those that are bringing the games to us.
And again, they've got the gigs because they've got the chops to do it, not because they're female.
There's a few color analysts that didn't, that are in it just because they're free, quite frankly, but they're being carried by professional, well-called games.
And the games have been. And again, it is strange he put it that way because I don't really notice and go, oh man, they got a female calling this game. I mean,
no, you don't. You just realize
do it. It's
I'm
just another announcer. And again, we will get to a point at some time where you don't bring it up, you don't think about it, but it is pretty, I guess, pretty big. And I'm kind of glad they're not making a big deal out of it.
I would like to point out that we're no longer talking about women who have deserved a shot for a long time and finally gotten it and are going to have to work through the kinks of becoming a national play-by-play host, doing those things. No one picks it up immediately, and sometimes you kind of get sped along. I'm not like
sure.
Witten ends up in the captain's chair and the best gig out there. He wasn't ready, and it was obvious. It was embarrassing that he just wasn't ready. These ladies are ready, and they're good at it. And I didn't know they were out there, quite frankly, because I haven't heard them call a lot of games. Now I've had a chance. Those gigs need to be equally handed out to those that can do it. And there's plenty of ladies that I'm hearing and seeing over the tournament that just doing fantastic work. Just
and I'll tell you, I think a big part of that is all the regional networks that are out there, all the ESPN Plus streaming games. There are so many gigs out there where that didn't used to be the case. And, and it's not just, you got a female broadcaster. Let's put her on the sideline. Our Jill Jelnick, who's going to join us here in a little bit. She's doing color for all the UIW Cardinal games, and it's, you hear she sounds great. She knows what she's doing. She did some high school games with us this past year. And again, you celebrate it, but I think, part of it is, we might not know them because they're not, on the regular broadcast of the teams that we follow, but with all the regional networks out there, a lot of gigs out there, a lot of opportunities. Speaking of regional networks, Fox Southwest is changing their name to, is it Bally's or Bally's? What are they going to? Because the Spurs are, and because they're going Bally's or Bally's or whatever it is, does that mean Dish Network is finally going to get a deal since Fox is out of the business?
You know that fingers crossed emoji? I got it. I think when I first heard that this was happening, I thought, oh, maybe they can negotiate with somebody else and just go ahead and pay the fees or whatever will happen. Let's all hope, because finding the way that the Fox Sports regional networks have broken up and caused so many of us to have difficulty finding our own teams to follow apart from what they do. And if you got Dish, you're just out of luck. I mean, at least this is finally starting to open up. But I think that the regional sport networks are going to continue to kind of splinter just because of the way it's all being delivered now. But good news, absolutely, for sure. With access to the Spurs. Spurs playing tonight. We've got Charlotte in town. Jill Jelnick, as Jason just mentioned, is going to join us in about 30 minutes for your Mellow Mushroom Game Night San Antonio broadcast. Coming back, let's look at your brackets. We're bringing in our expert, Jack Thompson of the Post Up, joins us next. We'll look at what we've got tonight and what we can look forward to next weekend as the Sweet 16 is falling into place. And if you had ACU progressing, you can go ahead and use the red marker. It ain't going to happen. Coming up, more basketball talk here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Pick the perfect bracket in the ESPN San Antonio Basketball Mayhem, brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue. And you could win
$1 million.
Details and registration at ESPNSA.com. Even if your bracket isn't perfect, the highest scoring local winner will win a $100 gift certificate to Pinkerton's Barbecue. ESPN San Antonio Basketball Mayhem, brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minix here from ESPN San Antonio for my friends at Alamo Water Softeners. Following the winter storm and freeze, lots of people have asked, is the water safe to drink? And if you have a water softener, do you need a water filter? Alamo Water Softeners recommends both. Call today for a free water analysis. Alamo Water Softeners will come test your water for free and give you an estimate. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Nigel, why are these boxes all over the office?
Glad you asked, Joel. Since you're such a popular guy, I give you the latest Quarter Moon swag.
First off, I didn't approve any merchandise requests and...
Now. Just take a look at some of these famously inspired t-shirts.
Kiss me, I'm Joel.
Remember the Joel.
Enjoy Coca-Cola?
My parents went to see Joel, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
Folks, our slogan is simple. From the outhouse to the penthouse, we can plumb it and we can cool it. At Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC, you have a whole team of Texas' best plumbers and AC technicians ready to fix every leaky faucet, busted pipe, or that cranky AC unit that needs repair.
And you've got me.
Nigel, how much did all these t-shirts cost?
Joel, how attached to your pickup truck are you?
I'm about to show you my Don't Mess with Joel t-shirt.
Uh-oh.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. 210-651-5899. License number M13229 TACLA 000743458.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save for driving safely. Save for driving less with pay-per-mile insurance. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. Savings based on early signing, discount drive-bys, and mile wise. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Smoothbrook, Illinois.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune in to Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
From the Mother's Window Tint Studios. Online at motherswindowtint.com. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM KZDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. 94.5 FM. If you're on the go, I recommend ESPNSA.com because if you went there, you'd see a double shot of Thompson. And a Jason Minix and a James Pleasure. Welcome aboard this hour. We're talking basketball primarily, but we will look up into the Star. See, as it's not the Star anymore, the Sports Center up there at Frisco. The Cowboys were busy this weekend and continue to sign some defensive players. We'll look at the Cowboys next, but right now we are joined by the Post Up and the Saturday Morning Hangover, Jack Thompson, my son, and co-host with James Pleasure of a couple shows. So, Jack, as our basketball analyst and the guy I go to, and you're the one who told me the Big Ten was probably going to win every game, and it was going to be all four Big Ten teams in the Final Four there in Indianapolis. Yeah. That didn't work. But as we sit today. No, actually, you did not. But
well, wait. Should we pull the tape from the other day when Rob was on vacation? I bring in Jack and he tells me kind of what you've told me, Rob, that the Pac-12 sucks. The UCLA is up. UCLA is up on Abilene Christian 58-35. So the Pac-12 is about to go 9-0 so far in this tournament because of Thompson advice from the both of you. I didn't pick a lot of Pac-12 teams, man.
Well, let's do a little bit of self-study. Jack, let's do a little bit of self-study. How did this happen? How did the Big Ten go from the best conference in basketball? And I don't think anybody from the mass experts down to me thought any different, that it was in fact the Big Ten, and they've got 12 teams and they could have taken all 12 by some measures. How did we get here? What was the Big Ten doing? Was it all about matchups, or was it they just weren't as good as we expected?
I think it might be maybe they were a little overhyped. I'll buy into that, but I just think it's the team that shows up, man. It's the team that shows up, and these Big Ten teams probably come in with a big head thinking, we're Big Ten, everyone says we're the best. And you come in against a Loyola Chicago or another mid-level seeded team, and they punch you in the mouth first, and you're like, oh, my God, these guys can actually ball like we can. And from then on, I mean, it's too late after you realize that midway through the game, like some of these teams seem to realize.
When you think about what we've seen so far, and again, matchups, confidence level, let's talk about what happened with Texas. Abilene Christian is getting destroyed by UCLA, and these kids aren't going to give a damn that they got blown out in the second round. Forever, they're going to say they beat Texas in the first round. Fans won't remember that they lost in the second round. They beat Texas. How? How did Shaka Smart let that happen?
Well, for one, the score was 52-53, so he let Abilene Christian seriously slow the game down, make it really ugly, and just once it got ugly, his guards just were dumb. They were making stupid decisions all game. Matt Coleman was very unlike himself, taking really bad shots, turning the ball over, and then Andrew Jones was a black hole, man. He was just shooting it every time he touched it. And then he didn't play Greg Brown at all in the second half, which I found very, very odd. That's your highest rated player that you may have ever brought into UT, and he doesn't play at all in the second half. Just a strange game for Shaka. Got severely outcoached by Abilene Christian.
It certainly felt like it. He is Jack Thompson, co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover, and also co-host with Brandon Medina of our basketball anthology show that you can catch on Friday nights called The Post Up. Check it out. It's great radio for those in the culture. Okay, I think after the weekend, I think we can safely say that Baylor and Gonzaga have kind of separated themselves in their play. They look like the obvious best teams. Now, Jack, I want you to look at their path. Is there anything in either team's way that can trip them up? Not so much by the teams that they're playing, but is there something inside of what Baylor and Gonzaga do that is a chink in their armor, that is an opening? Do either teams have that?
I don't think that either team has that, especially after watching Gonzaga again today. That's a team that they go 6 deep that are all going to play pro, whether it's NBA or high level overseas. So that's just a pro team. They're just not going to mess up. You're going to have to beat them. Baylor has a couple guys that, might not play pro. They're really good college basketball guys, but they're led by 3 all Big 12 guards. Maceo Teague was all Big Sun 2 years in a row before he transferred over to Baylor. So they just have so much experience, and guards win tournament games. So those are 2 teams that are not going to beat themselves. That you're going to have to show up and really play against them and play perfect.
Well, and those are the 2 teams we expect to be there. Of a couple of teams that you didn't expect to be in the Sweet 16, Loyola Chicago and Oral Roberts, do they have the talent to continue the crazy run that they are on?
I don't know if you look at Oral Roberts, and coming into the tournament, probably not a lot of people knew this, but Max A. Smith, their starting point guard, was the leading scorer in the nation. And when you're driven by a guy like that, has that much confidence all season to go in and lead the nation in scoring every night, you can go as far as he takes you. And like I just said, when it comes to tournaments, if you have a guard that can control y'all's pace and not turn the ball over, you have a chance to beat anybody. That being said, they're coming into some high-level matchups, and it's just going to get tougher and tougher. And I believe that Oral Roberts is going to run into Arkansas.
Arkansas is going to look big and mean against that skinny team.
They've got 2 6'6" starting guards. Justin Smith is a high-flying 6'8" beast who's already scored 30 in the tournament once. I think their talent and pedigree is going to win out.
We saw what Loyola Chicago did, and I think that they were underseeded. Looking back at the Ken Palm ratings and everything that the committee uses to place teams, it looked like they were too eager to put together, and it worked. The big brother, little brother syndrome with Texas and Abilene Christian and Illinois against Loyola Chicago made for great television, and they got exactly what they wanted. But to do that, they had to underseed Loyola. They had to make sure that they were going to be available and beat another team. And I think that was probably a 4 seed. Given what we saw from Loyola, that's a Final Four team if they continue playing that kind of defense. And as we watch them go through and what the performance we saw from Cameron Krutwig, who I think I heard Jay Billis describe him as the guy who looks like he'd come to your house to fix your refrigerator, not a legendary basketball player. As this is a legitimate Final Four team. Do they have enough defense to fight the likes of a and get themselves to a championship team? Because they certainly made a very good offense, and Illinois looked out of sync and kind of lost.
I mean, up next, they're going up against what presumably would be an easier matchup in Oregon State. But that team has been incredibly hot for what seems like 2 months now. They've been shooting the ball lights out, and they're led by an extremely talented guard, Ethan Thompson. I mean, last name, of course he's going to be good. It just makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. You know he can shoot with a last name like that. But I think Loyola Chicago set up to get to wherever they want to go in that region.
Sister Jean has the scouting reports, man. Just 50% of layups and 30% of your threes. You're going to have to do it. Jack Thompson joining us. Go ahead.
I saw the leaders for Loyola Chicago interview today, Krutwig and Williamson. And Williamson said after their prayer with Sister Jean, it feels like they're up 10 to start the game. So that's obviously a big thing for them.
You know, I mean, we saw Sister Jean Mania here in San Antonio a couple of years ago, and by all accounts, this year's team would be that team that came through San Antonio. So, I mean, you know, the power of Sister Jean cannot be denied. Now, one other matchup, I'm very curious your thoughts, because, you know, we talked about Houston before the tournament got started and talked about the run they could make. The fact that they struggled against Rutgers, does that help them or hurt them in their game coming up against Syracuse?
You know, I've seen Houston play a couple times, and while they have some really talented scoring guards, their bread and butter is their rebounding and their defense. So I've seen them struggle offensively and pull out tight games like that before. So I think moving forward, it really is not going to have that much of an effect on them. They're led by Marcus Sasser and Quentin Grimes, Quentin Grimes will play in the NBA for sure. 6'6", super talented shooting guard. I think that they'll be fine. Their confidence shouldn't be messed up at all. Especially, it's a win in the tournament. You should be sky high no matter what.
Well, kind of watching that game felt like they showed up to the gym expecting to win and got punched in the mouth, and they were able to, at the very end, pull it out. And so, you know, they're not going to be overconfident, certainly, against a Syracuse team.
Well, Rutgers was a pretty good team. Let's not take away from how good Rutgers actually was. I think that they matched up very well against Houston because those guards were quick and Houston had to work. But for Giroux coming in and really applying what, like Jack said, the rebound and the attacking style that Kelvin Sampson is so famous for, they might have gone down. I like Houston as well. Another team with experienced guards and with a basis of players that have been around each other for several years. And I want to talk about that real quick, Jack. As we've seen this tournament full of upsets and the like, it's because these teams have been together for a long time, right? It's because we've got experienced guards at Abilene Christian that have been to the tournament a couple years ago but found their way. We see it with Loyola again. Oral Roberts is being shot in by Adams, who is just having a ridiculous performance. I don't know how much money he has made himself over the last 5 days. Do you see the end of any kind of desire to have any one and dones by most of college basketball now, judging by how exciting this tournament has been?
You know, I don't think the blue bloods and the high level teams are still going to want their one and done because it's going to sell money. It's going to bring people to the stands for tickets. And of course, I mean, you bring NBA talent into your roster. Good things are going to happen when you have a full season to sort of meld them and develop them into your team. But when it comes to tournament time and you're down in the trenches and there's no timeouts, you can't get to your coach and talk. You need that continuity and experience of a veteran team, especially when it comes to the guards that don't even have to talk to their coach. They just already know what he wants done. And that'll beat a one and done freshman every day of the week when it comes to the tournament. So there's something being said. I think the transfer portal, now that you get one for a year, is going to be huge because that's where it'll come into play. Those blue blood teams will be trying to get their seasoned veteran guards through the transfer portal.
You know, Jack, and it's for you and for Rob, because you guys eat, drink, and sleep, you know, college basketball more than most people that I know.
My bracket.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it is what it is because I still am in first place in our ESPN San Antonio bracket challenge.
It doesn't
but
matter when it comes.
Minix is a broken clock twice.
I'm just saying. But you know, we all are kind of celebrating the fact that the Blue Bloods aren't here, and you're seeing all these other teams get there. Yet we miss the Blue Bloods being there. You know, college football playoff rolls around, and it's the same 4, 5, 6 teams that are competing for those 4 spots. And we'll talk about, well, you got to expand it. But then, you know, here it's almost like to expand it, and we're going, well, where are these teams? How do we get them back here? You know, what is, you know, do we want the Blue Bloods there? Do we expect them there? Or do we just enjoy the fact that this was a one-off year and you let 19 underdogs win in the first couple of days of the tournament?
I would say that the Blue Bloods will indeed be back. I fully expect Duke, Michigan State, Kentucky, North Carolina, all those teams are going to fall right back into place with their recruiting classes and all be in the top 10 and make the tournament next year. But I think this is, like I said, a changing of the tide, that you can really make your team something special through the transfer portal and getting some sort of veteran players, especially guards, that have played in the tournament, that don't need the coaching up or aren't afraid of the moment and the bright lights. So I think there's going to be some sort of changing in the tide where a lot of mid-majors are going to get a lot better because these blue blood players are going to come in and be like, you know what, I'm not playing, I'm not getting my time. Let me go down to Loyola Chicago and I'll get my time in the tournament and we'll beat Illinois. I think that stuff like that is really going to start happening.
We're watching that at UCLA with Juzang, who went to Kentucky, didn't find his footing, went back to UCLA, sat out and found himself. And UCLA is now in the Sweet 16, and he is leading them there with Yaquez, the biggest bag in the tournament. When you talk about with the performances that we've seen, who, in your mind, I'm not asking for the most outstanding player yet. We still got some time to go through. But in your mind, who are the best players you've seen so far?
Some of the best players that I've seen are, of course, that Max Asmus from Oral Roberts is awesome. Buddy Boeheim from Syracuse has a flamethrower for a right hand. Yeah, he's got the most confidence probably in the tournament right now. Of course, Krutwig from Loyola Chicago is an interesting dude. He's got a really high basketball IQ. He's 6'9", but looks at the floor like he's a guard. But, I mean, he's the least looking big man guard I've ever seen. It's a lot of really interesting players. I still think Gonzaga, I mean, they've got 5 pros in their starting 5. And after watching Jalen Suggs today, I mean, you can make a case for that kid to go number 1. He is so good. And the thing I love about him, first half, he took 2 charges today. That's a guy who's about to make over $100 million in the month, and he took 2 charges. I love that.
He is
there. Real quick, I mean, you talk about a guy going number 1. All the dudes from Gonzaga, you know, I think probably the best player is that kid from Gonzaga that looks like he's straight off of the set of semi-pro. But
Drew Timmy.
Drew Timmy.
Yeah, man, that dude looks like he could have been playing in that. All right, so Cade Cunningham, Oklahoma State, they quickly go out. People were talking about him being number 1 overall. Does his tournament hurt him coming up in the NBA draft?
No,
he had a fantastic tournament. His team, he doesn't have a lot of scoring help around him, and he really has to dial it in the second half if his team's not there to sort of carry him, if he can't quite get it done with all the attention he's getting. And he still seems to get hot every second half. No matter what kind of pressure or double teams he's getting, I think he solidified his number 1. I think that Jalen Suggs is just a guy that could, you know, depending on who's drafting, he's got the talent. But I mean, Cade he's got the skills of a Luka-like player at 6'9", grabs the board, handles it full court, throws a dime on the run. He's really special. I would draft him, no question.
It'd be hard to pass on him. He's Jack Thompson, co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover with James Pleasure and co-host with Brendan Medina on our basketball anthology show, The Post Up. Catch it Friday nights at 7 and The Hangover, of course, from 9 to 11 every Saturday. Thanks, Jack. Thanks for the knowledge.
Of course, anytime.
Let's face facts. No one's winning the $1 million this year. It didn't happen, but there's still $100 to be won from Pinkerton's Barbecue. The mayhem continues. Don't worry. The dollar gift card's coming to you. ESPN San Antonio and Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge is always brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue. Coming back, them Cowboys got a safety or a super backer or I don't know what you're going to call him, but he's coming from Atlanta. Let's talk about what the Cowboys did as they continue to round out their defense. Coming back here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners, a great local company owned by the Townsends. They got a great product, even better customer service. I know I've had a water softener from Alamo Water Softeners in my home for about a decade. When we moved, it was the first thing I had installed. Now, following the winter storm and the freeze, a lot of people asked 2 questions about their water, especially because you were having to boil it. Is it safe to drink? And if you have a water softener, do you need a water filter? Well, Alamo Water Softeners actually recommends both a water softener and a filtration system, because a water softener will take the hardness and minerals out of your water, but there are still some chemicals and contaminants that it can't remove that a filtration system will. Call Alamo Water Softeners. They'll come out to your house. They'll test your water and give you a free estimate. So they'll give you a free water analysis and tell you exactly what you're going to need. And in San Antonio, you need a water softener because we do have some of the hardest water in the country. And you're not going to deal with a better company than Alamo Water Softeners. On the Nextdoor app, they were voted a 2020 neighborhood favorite. They are the best value for the highest quality water treatment. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to the website, alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Follow your progress in the ESPN San Antonio Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge at ESPNSA.com. You could win a $100 gift card to Pinkerton's. The ESPN San Antonio Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge is brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue.
When it comes to social distancing, if 6 feet is not enough with your spouse, it's probably time to change your status. Call the Divorce Dude with Polling Law PLLC. The Divorce Dude will help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude will fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. Call George, the Divorce Dude, 210-201-0303. That's 210-201-0303 or DivorceDude.com.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect opportunity for a significant business upgrade. Save up to 45% on Dell computers built for business and powered by Intel Core processors. Plus, enjoy special pricing on Dell docks, monitors, servers, and more. All with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor today to find the right tech for your business with fast, free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL. Again, that's 877-ASK-DELL.
So we're sitting here with one of New Jersey's prodigal sons, the boss, my friend, Bruce Springsteen. It's good to see you, my friend.
It's good to see you also.
You and I have spent a lot of time talking about what it means to be a good man.
Our audience looked at us and saw the America that they wanted to believe in.
We come from such different places. It turns out there's a lot of overlap.
Renegades, Born in the USA, a new Spotify original podcast from Higher Ground. Listen free only on Spotify.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's opponents on Man versus Train. At the crossing, we have Rick, a 175-pound frustrated man who's running late for work. And on the tracks, we have Bull, a 1 million-pound freight train that takes a mile to stop. Let's see who comes out on top.
You can't beat a train, so don't try. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Injuries happen. If you twist, pull, bump, or snap something, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. From a minor sprain to a compound fracture, TSAOG has got you covered. Not all injuries require surgery. Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries and concussion baseline testing. Telemedicine services are available through Ortho Connect. If you're hurting, go to the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Online, TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
It is the Blitz. You're on ESPN San Antonio. Don't forget Grilling with the Blitz on Thursday night. You got plenty of time to show us your meat. Just make sure it's cooked and pretty. Upload it at ESPNSA.com. You can win yourself a $50 gift card to Tri-County Meat Market on Thursdays. So the Cowboys are getting busy. I think they were value shopping. They bring in a safety from Atlanta. Had a good year last year, played with Dan Quinn defensively. Spent a couple years on the IR, though. There was a knee and an Achilles there. Big safety, a guy that's probably going to be more effective in stopping the run. And we see bringing in Urban as well, who's got a good run-stopping kind of numbers. Is this a move, Jason, to bring in a safety like this that's more about the NFC East than it is the broad scope of things? Is this a Saquon Barkley kind of move just to make sure that the one team that really feels threatening right now can't run the ball, or is this kind of a Dan Quinn style that they're just kind of filling out the roster with?
Probably a combination of both, especially if because Malik Hooker and DeMonte Casey, who also played in Atlanta, Hooker from Indianapolis, both are scheduled to visit with the Cowboys this week. And I'm trying to think, and tell me, we were talking about this earlier, and I'm trying to remember when we had good safeties. Was it Darren Woodson and Roy Williams back in the early 2000s?
That would be it. We haven't had a safety since then.
Was that really the last time we had good safeties? I mean, am I forgetting somebody?
Roy Williams?
Well, no, it was Woodson and Williams. That's it. There hasn't been a safety worth recognition since then.
So at the very least, it feels like Quinn's input so far is we got to have some safeties. And you think about his MO when he was in Seattle and other places, the Legion of Boom led by a safety. So the fact that the Cowboys are bringing in safeties and signing safeties, and Dan Quinn is trying to improve the safety position, and Jerry is letting him, that's worth some recognition, don't you think? I mean, we're addressing what we've all been talking about as a problem for a long time. So, now you got to get some of these guys signed, but the fact that they're talking about safeties, it used to be, we don't need one, we'll go find one. That kind of position seems so undervalued by Jerry Jones and the staff in the past. At least Quinn makes it feel like they're prioritizing the safety position.
A priority in that they got a guy who's had one good year of the last three. Still looking for others, have Donovan Wilson. So when he comes in and the way he's been described to me and the way that he's going to play, not only does it have effect with the DBs and the safeties on the back end, but also it's going to have an effect on the linebacker play as well, because he's fully capable of playing some kind of linebacker role, it looks like, maybe in a nickel or something like that, at least kind of protecting him. What does that mean for Jalen Smith, for Sean Lee, for Van Der Esch? I mean, are we going to have these hybrid linebacker safeties running around, or is this just Dan Quinn's idea for right now?
Well, I think, Donovan Wilson did well enough last year to where I think you sign a hybrid guy. So if Wilson continues to improve, you don't replace him and take him off the field. If he struggles, you've got a replacement ready to go. Xavier Woods is still out there, although by all indications, he won't be back with the Dallas Cowboys, right? I mean, I guess he could be for the right price, but so you still have to replace Xavier Woods too. From the linebacker standpoint, you got Sean Lee, they've been linked to a couple of guys, but not many. So I'm really not sure what direction they're heading linebacker wise, but better secondary help is certainly going to help there. And the change of defense, if as a Cowboy fan, I kind of hope with what we saw with the linebackers under Rod Marinelli is what we get back to under Dan Quinn, and not whatever Mike Nolan did. I think Mike Nolan had Jalen playing far too out of position. It wasn't that long ago, although it feels like it, that Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch were considered the best linebacking duo in the NFL, or at least the best young linebacking duo. on their way up. You know, they were getting compared to what you saw with the Carolina Panthers and Luke Kuechly in that group. You know, maybe Quinn's system allows those two to get back to playing at that level. And, of course, that starts with Leighton Vander Esch being able to stay on the football field.
Do you like the idea that Quinn's bringing in his guys? Is that going to make the transition to his defense a little bit easier?
Yeah, I mean, you got guys with buy-in, and it's not like they were bad players, although it was a bad year last year for Dan Quinn, which is why he was available. It wasn't that long ago. He had a group in the Super Bowl and blowing a big lead to the New England Patriots. I think we always have to bring that up in Super Bowl 52 down in Houston. But you do get some buy-in, some familiarity where guys are going to be able to help other guys along. And you're seeing all these one-year short contracts with this lower salary cap. Quite frankly, as bad as the Cowboys defense was last year, it would be hard not to expect improvement. If they get worse, you've got bigger problems than talent acquisition, right? I mean, because they were, what'd you call it earlier, biblically bad last year on the defensive side. I mean, you know, they're more than just warm bodies, but my goodness, they should trip into having a better defense than what they had a year ago.
It is interesting as we look at what's going across the rest of the NFC East is, you know, you got Fitz that shows up with the football team, but not a lot of offensive threat there. I have no idea what's going to happen with the Eagles. I can't imagine a world where Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback for the Eagles next year. I've heard a little bit about maybe Foles coming back into the fold or something like that.
He's got a statue out front. Why not? So, you know, the biggest threat really might be the New York Giants and the offense that they have with the healthy Saquon Barkley. Second year under Jason Garrett is the offensive coordinator. You know, they've got some talent there. They've added some receivers. In fact, Good Morning Football had a post today. Their topic today, which offense is better, the Cowboys or the Giants, which, you know, is laughable. But then again, you know, I'm a Cowboy fan, but what's even more laughable is Super Bowl champion quarterback Trent Dilfer responded to their topic on TV and on Twitter by saying Cowboys have to believe they'll be able to outscore anyone. Quarterback OC relationship, Dak and Kellen going on 6 years. Best offseason hire, Dan Quinn. All roads lead to Super Bowl. That is a tweet from a former Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Stop, Trent Dilfer. Stop. Don't do this to yourself or the rest of us.
Oh, come on, man. Stir the drink. It is March. By talk show host contract, it's in the bylaws. You talk Cowboys in the Super Bowl every March. That's where they're going.
I thought we didn't start till after the draft. I got the wrong memo. I guess we're on hype savings time. We dialed the clock back. Oh, okay. That's what happened.
Yeah. They're Super Bowl champs before you hit OTAs. So it's pre-draft.
There we go. All right. Thanks, Trent. We just got to start a little bit quicker. Hey, coming back, let's talk some Spurs. They are in action tonight. You might want to break away from those broken brackets and watch a team that probably will win tonight. Spurs taking on the ballless Charlotte Hornets. Jelnick of YOLO and Sports2Nite joins us next for Mellow Mushrooms Game Night San Antonio. Strap it in. We're going to have some fun. You're on the Blitz. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. The Institute for Functional Health, I went to visit them about a year ago, and I'll tell you what, my life has completely changed. I walked in that door about 300 pounds, not kidding. I'd been gaining weight year after year. I'd never been on a diet, had zero plan to ever go on a diet. And the fact of the matter is, I really didn't. I met Dr. Torres over at the IFH, and he explained to me that a diet, that's a short-term solution to a long-term problem. You need to adjust what you think about food, how you feel about food, and what you're doing to energize your body. And once you start putting it into those parameters, it makes it a whole lot easier to get on a program that's literally going to change your life. Now, when you go to a place like the IFH, the program is put together specifically for you. They're a healthcare provider. Your weight, your age, your genetics, your biology, they all flow into a program put together only for you, not off the rack, not off some book that you can apply. This is taking the very best in medical science and applying it to you. And before you know it, you're going to start losing weight. But more importantly, the other things begin to be affected. Your life gets better. You sleep better. You don't have the soreness in your joints. You don't have that general brain fog and malaise from not getting the sleep you're getting, because probably not sleeping well because you're probably dealing with some sort of apnea situation if you're well overweight. And I'm not even gotten into the diabetes, the heart, the hypertension, all that we deal with when we're overweight. You need to take yourself into consideration, but also your loved ones. If you know someone or are living with someone that is dealing with obesity and trying to lose weight, call Dr. Torres, meet with them, and find out what I know. Go check out their website, IFFhealth.com, or you can make the call, 210-468-1891. Dr. Torres will meet with you any way you'd like. I recommend heading down to their beautiful facility down there, their great office down on Ashby. Meet the great people and see what they're doing with all these healthy and happy folks coming through the door. I've never met a physician that was more eager to get me off medications than Dr. Torres was. I want you to call the IFH, get to know them, find out what I know, and get on a program that before you know, well, you will see genuine benefits and genuine change in your body and everything that goes along with it. Make that change. Make that decision. You might have a beach body before summer. Call the IFF at 210-468-1891. Meet Dr. Torres, get on the program, and I am sure you'll thank me later.
Show us your meat. On the grill. Take a picture and upload it to ESPNSA.com, and you could win a $50 gift card from Tri-County Meat Market if you do. Grilling with the Blitz every Thursday.
Going for a few days without water, then being told to boil your water when it came back on, that got a lot of people thinking, is my tap water safe? Hey, this is David Van Camp. Alamo Water Softeners can help you out. They've got top-of-the-line water softeners and filtration systems. They'll come out to your house for a free water analysis and explain what they can do for you. And Alamo Water Softeners is a 2020 neighborhood favorite on Nextdoor. Go to alamowatersofteners.com to schedule a free water analysis. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Now this is something to get excited about. 21 Days of Beauty is happening now at Ulta Beauty. Get ready to feel fresh, new, and yeah, like you again. Give your routine a glow up with daily beauty steals of 50% off the must-haves from brands like Too Faced and First Aid Beauty. And explore the newest arrivals from brands like Tarte and Benefit. Discover endless ways to feel like your best self. Shop in-store, online, or try curbside pickup today. Hurry! This event ends April 3rd. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Before you move in and start making a lifetime of memories, there's something you should remember: the value of working with a realtor. A realtor is more than an expert in the field who abides by a code of ethics. A realtor is your neighbor and your ally, someone who puts your agenda ahead of theirs, someone who understands your dreams and has the expertise to make them a reality. Finding the right place starts with you and a realtor, and the doors we open together. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Hey, James, that order just doubled. We got to move fast here.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
Somebody pick up that phone.
Like at Luca's Gourmet Frozen Pizza Company. To operate at scale, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
When you post your first job for free on LinkedIn Jobs, we search a network of over 700 million professionals so you can find the quality candidate you need quickly. Marketing wizards? Found them.
Software engineers?
Found.
That project manager I could never seem to hire?
And found. How? Well, LinkedIn Jobs matches your roles with candidates with the right skills and experience and puts your jobs in front of them. So, looking for an easier way to make that next hire? You found it. Post your first job for free and get started at linkedin.com/CBS. That's linkedin.com/CBS. Terms and conditions apply.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up any non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen temporal scanner purchased at any retailer. With COVID continuing to spread, nothing matters more than having an accurate thermometer that's backed by more than 80 published peer-reviewed clinical studies, like the Exergen temporal scanner. Even after getting the COVID vaccine, you should be monitoring for fever to make sure you are protected. Keep your family and yourself safe by trading up your non-contact thermometer for an accurate temporal scanner and a $5 rebate from Exergen, where accuracy matters. Details at Exergen.com.
Switch to T-Mobile for Business and get up to 90 days of service free via virtual rebate on your business plan. You get a great deal, the largest 5G network, and first-class benefits like Microsoft 365 on us. It's better for business and only with T-Mobile for Business. Limited time offer. Stop in store for details. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Virtual Express MasterCard within 8 weeks of receipt of valid submission. Complete port within 60 days. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices, coverage, and plan details.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with repetition. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's a repetitive ad. Okay. Research shows that people remember radio ads with repetition, so to help you remember, the Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Here's a repetitive ad. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Game Night San Antonio. Brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
This is Manu Ginobili.
This is Matt Bonner, a.k.a. the Red Rocket, a.k.a. the Red Mamba, a.k.a. the Sandwich Hunter.
Hi, this is DeJounte Murray. It's Game Night San Antonio.
Game Night San Antonio. Brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
It's Game Night San Antonio, and it's always brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom. Go grab yourself a big old pizza, a slice, or get some of that beer cheese, and go enjoy a Spurs game. Tipping at 7:30. The Hornets are in town. We've got the usual cast of characters to get you ready. Jelnick joining us from YOLO, Texas, and Sports2Nite. He's Jason Minix. Of course, I'm Rob Thompson. Welcome aboard, Jill. Glad to have you. When we last saw the Spurs, they were valiantly fighting against the Milwaukee Bucks. But more importantly, we saw a team that kind of carried the momentum in against a very good team and played competitively through that, and were carried by a guy that when he shows up well in Lonnie Walker. Can we expect to get that kind of performance again from Lonnie as the Hornets arrive in town?
Well, that seems like the $1 million question this season, Rob, is more than just, okay, are we going to see him again? Is what kind of player is Lonnie Walker? Is that his go-to? Is that a potential that we can see consistently night in and night out with the Spurs? And if that's the case, how come we haven't seen it, right? I mean, we know that DeJounte Murray wasn't there. He had to step up. So the ball was going to be naturally more in his hands. He had more minutes. But that's the biggest question, is the Lonnie Walker that we saw on Saturday, how come we can't see him more often? What is Coach Pop maybe doing to try to get that Lonnie Walker to show up more often, right? So obviously it was great to have him Saturday, but to answer your question, Rob, no, I don't expect to have another big night from Lonnie Walker. I expect for the ball to be a little more balanced, the scoring to be a little more balanced, with everybody back for the Spurs. But Jason, I feel like you're about to hit on this. It's one of those things. It's almost frustrating that he did so well because we saw his potential.
We see that from time to time. We see, him have a game like that and you go, all right, why don't we get more of that? The inconsistent play, which I think is part of the reason why with the trade deadline this week, that any rumor that you hear he might be included in it, which would suck to see him go after what we saw the other night, but we don't see that every night. So if you've got to include him to clinch a deal and then watch him go be successful and more consistent somewhere else, it will always burn. But I think that's why his name is always or is mentioned in just about every rumor you see involving the San Antonio Spurs, because he's that potential piece that shows the potential. We just, for whatever reason, don't see it consistent enough here in San Antonio.
He was given free. What do you take? Go ahead.
All I was going to say was, part of the Spurs balanced offense, they have DeMar DeRozan leading the way with 20 points a game, right? But then I think one of the biggest advantages with the Spurs is just how balanced they are. Then they have 7 guys after DeMar DeRozan averaging anywhere from 10 to 15 points, right? And any number of those guys can step up on any given night, which is great. That depth is awesome. Coming off the bench, that second unit, it's fantastic. But I can't help but feel frustrated after seeing that performance Saturday. And how do you not look at that and say, wait, so why can't we get more of that from Lonnie Walker?
I'm sure when he gets to take 21 shots, you say, that's what you need, me taking more shots. Now, he was shooting quite well, 50% from 3. Now, he brought the game that we needed to have. Derek White, on the other hand, while the Spurs have been successful in their outings, Derek has had kind of stumbled back from his return. And the other night, 0 of 8 from three-point land is not going to feed anybody's bulldog. I wonder if he spent some time with Coach England to kind of round that form back. And what are we going to need to get Derek White back offensively? Because I think he's dealing with a little bit of maybe not being in shape, but also being out of sync with guys that have been on the court over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think you hit on it, Rob. Not just one thing, but several things, a variety of things, right? We can't forget that he was not only hurt for the first part of the season, but then, he was part of that crew that was out of that was on the COVID-19 list and couldn't play for a number of games. And so this is a guy that I think, we know him to be a consistent player, but have we really seen Derek White go ahead and turn the corner and be that player that we saw last year? I don't think so yet. I still would argue he's getting back into the swing of things. I think Coach Pop would argue that as well. Does he absolutely need to get it together right now? Yes, because the Spurs need him. They need him tonight. They need him for this homestand. They need him the rest of the season.
Well, and you talk about tonight in this homestand. It's a 9-game homestand. And,
have y'all ever heard of a 9-game homestand? It's like the rodeo staycation.
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, the
welcome to 2021, Rob.
Tell you what.
But what are they, 10-10 at home? So I mean, they I'm going to go back to the drum that I've been beating for a while. You've got to win the winnable games. You look at the back-to-backs with the Clippers this week. That's going to be tough. You got to get this one tonight. You look at what's happening with the Lakers right now with injuries. You look at all the other teams that they're bunched up with, fighting for either a legit playoff spot or getting into the play-in tournament or whatever they're calling it, the 10 seed above. But Pop said something interesting Saturday night after the loss to Milwaukee, that what he told his team, hang in there because you have so much room to grow where other teams don't.
It's a heck of a interesting and enjoyable group because of that fact. This is the 5th game in 7 nights, and a couple of important guys didn't play, but it doesn't matter. They all come to compete, getting better all the time. And, as I told them after the game, they have more room to improve than a lot of teams, as they're still learning an awful lot about what it takes to win and lose. I think DeMar and Rudy are doing a good job of leading them. We had 29 assists tonight against an older team. They do a great job. So we're thrilled with the way we played. You just have to keep the consistency.
Consistency, which is the one thing that they haven't
there
had.
It is.
As a team and as individual players. But I think he's right. There, a lot of other teams are what they are at this point. Spurs, we see it. We continue to see it where they've got room to grow. A couple of things that I took out of that is Rudy Gay and DeMar kind of leading this young group. Rudy Gay's name mentioned in a variety of rumors. Is Rudy Gay going to be on this team this time next week?
I'll tell you what, I think he is being actively shopped, and I do believe if there is a bouncy big being made available, that Rudy Gay will be gone. You can tell by the way that Pop's talking. Well. I just feel like he's talking to these young guys saying, yeah, don't mind the loss. You guys have so much more room for growth. You are the acorn that will become the mighty oak. All these other oaks are already growing. You don't know how good you're going to be. That's what you tell a team that you're about to make a significant change to. Like, don't worry about it, man. We're just growing. We're just growing together, and we're figuring it all out. And to call out Rudy, who deserves it, I think it's almost like babysitting sometimes to these older guys, where you have to kind of go in and you're constantly reminding them to make sure they're covering their defensive position, they're doing things right over and over. Yeoman's work for Rudy, because he's gone unsung, as I think Patty Mills has continued to impress and improve every year with the coming off the bench. More points this year than last, more points last over the year before. Well, Rudy's been kind of in this holding pattern. I think Rudy is a lot like DeMar. A ring might be more appropriate for him to chase right now.
Well, and I look at DeMar too. I mean, all of a sudden things very quiet on the DeMar front. Whether it's will he get an in-season extension before the deadline, or is he going to be on the move? I mean, the only guy getting talked about right now in the rumor mill is LaMarcus, and that's more on the buyout market with the Miami Heat.
Done and done there. Right?
No, I think this next week is going to be interesting. Again, I always want to go back to the Spurs way and what they have done historically and traditionally, which is not make any big flashy moves, nothing spontaneous, nothing out of the ordinary. I do agree with Rob in the sense that I think Rudy Gay is someone that could be easily shopped around for. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if the deadline comes and goes.
Wouldn't be shocking at all. We'll give you lineups and possibilities coming up next. It's game night, San Antonio. We're going to break. Go call Mellow Mushroom. Get your pizza ready. They're tipping at 7:30. We'll be right back. Get you ready for Spurs and the ballless Hornets coming up on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you're having issues at the house with your plumbing, your heating, your AC, you know there is one company to call, and that is Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC at 210-651-5899, 651-5899. At Quartermoon, they are experts at worst-case scenarios, big job, small job, residential, or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. At Quartermoon, they do not have commission sales reps. They'll provide estimates and second opinions. They have a great experienced staff that has earned an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. And at Quartermoon, they are green certified. Problems at the house, plumbing, heating, and AC, one company to call. Quartermoon, 210-651-5899, 651-5899, or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
It's time for ESPN San Antonio's Big Score. This hour's keyword is barbacoa. Enter that keyword at ESPNSA.com for your chance to win $1,000. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Howdy, howdy. This is the Texas original Mother's Window Tint, announcing a special edition for a limited time only. Mother's Window Tint will be discounting everything in the store. Plus, Mother's Window Tint now sells Alpine car stereo equipment and Python auto security. That means managers will make you a deal directly at a discount. Austin, San Antonio, and everyone within the sound of my voice, get to Mother's Window Tint this coming Monday for special edition discounts on car stereos, window tint, auto alarms, and remote start systems. Make your car go thump, 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 mother thump. Start your car by remote control and save over $100 on Monday. Mother's Window Tint sells and installs the best window film on earth, and we can prove it. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
How do you protect yourself from the new forms of the coronavirus? Here you go. Got a mask that fits good and snug? Perfect. Now, give your neighbors at least 6 feet of space and avoid crowds, because all that stuff still works too. Look, I'll definitely get my vaccine when it's my turn, but now isn't the time to let your guard or your mask down.
We can do this. Learn more at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're ready to get back into yoga, so you order the essentials. A non-slip mat, yoga blocks to keep balance, and an exercise ball. And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential yoga gear. Noise-canceling headphones.
Welcome. Take a deep breath.
Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020 Bank of America Corporation.
Let me tell you why I love my Spurs, man.
Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
This is Matt Bonner.
This is Manu Ginobili. Hi, this is DeJounte Murray. It's Game Night San Antonio.
Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
It's Game Night San Antonio, of course. It's Game Night San Antonio. It's always brought to you by Mellow Mushroom. He's Jason Minix. We are joined, as always, for Game Night, but Jill Jelnick of YOLO, Texas, and Sports2Nite, who's about to head down to South Padre for a week. Tough gig you get when you're the TV type. You ready to go have some fun on the beach there,
Yeah, real tough. It's supposed to be 70 degrees all week, you know, going to be going to some beach bars, some great restaurants. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain this week.
Well,
YOLO.
YOLO. Stay safe, and we'll have you back next week.
YOLO. It is the name of the show.
As the Hornets arrived, they lost their Rookie of the Year. It looks like LaMelo's done for the season with a cracked wrist, which is certainly good for the Spurs. That guy has been everything that anybody had hoped when he was drafted out of Australia back a year ago. The guy that has kind of grown in the league really is legit. They're going to miss him tremendously. There was some concern about Terry Rozier, though it does appear that Scary Terry is, in fact, going to play. He's got a little bit of a hip issue, but the Spurs know what they're getting with Charlotte. I think first and foremost, as we got the tip tonight at 7:30, is you got to play your game, play good, solid defense, and don't foul shooters because they will hit free throws.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the biggest thing is this Hornets team is going to be scrambling. They have to replace 28 minutes of play and a guy that was averaging 16 points per game. Like you said, a Rookie of the Year candidate, a leader and ball facilitator on that court. So the Hornets are going to have to play catch up and chemistry fix quick. Right. And so, like you said, Rob, you're right. The Spurs stick to their defense, stick to their perimeter defense. Even Hornets haven't even been shooting very well. They're 38% from beyond the arc. I think last in the Eastern Conference in terms of 3-point percentage. So I think the big key, though, is going to be that interior defense, because if you look at the Hornets lineup, yeah, okay, LaMelo wasn't any sort of size, but it's not like they lose size. They just never really had it. They don't have a ton of big guys. They don't have that true traditional center. So I think the key is going to be with Jakob Poeltl. Get it to him. He's been heating up lately. Last 10 games, shooting 60% and averaging 9 points over the last 10 games for at least 9 points for San Antonio. So I think you get it into Jakob. You let him do his thing. You play your solid defense that has looked really well lately for these young Spurs, and you continue to not turn the ball over.
Home cooking, fans in the building tonight. The Spurs are 500 at home. The Hornets seem like one of the rare teams that has a losing road record. I mean, for whatever reason, they can't win in the empty gyms either. But right now they're sitting in the 8th seed. But like so many other teams in the NBA, 5-5 in their last 10. They're trying to find their way. And what always makes me nervous about a team that just lost a player. Right? Like this is game one without LaMelo. Somebody's going to step up and play hero ball. And then you wonder, who is that going to be? And can they just, through energy and whatnot, get a win that they have no business winning? We see it too often to discount it, even though you kind of laugh.
You want to talk about hero ball? Yeah. Terry Rozier was born for this moment. This guy is ready to be the hero. Rozier, Graham, Hayward, Bismack Biyombo, and P.J. Washington, the prospective starters for the tip at 7:30. But we're almost against it. Over the weekend, we passed midway point of the season as far as games to be played. They're only playing 72 now. We went over it over the weekend. As we sit halfway, for all intents, who's been the biggest surprise Spur for you, Jill?
Jakob Poeltl. I have loved him this last month.
Keldon Johnson for me.
Yeah.
Keldon Johnson. Has DeJounte Murray lived up to everything that we had hoped to halfway through the season?
No.
That's a big question. I want to see more. I love what he's doing, but I want to see more.
I mean, he's certainly trending up, but he hasn't just taken over it doesn't feel like he's just taken over this team. We see moments of it, but it's still DeMar's team. And I think, for DeJounte to live up to the expectations, it's got to clearly be his team.
Has any of the younger guys, Devin, you name anybody coming off the bench, have they played themselves into long-term Spursdom yet? And we'll include Lonnie there.
I would say Devin more so than Lonnie.
I agree with Jason, just because he's in his rookie year doing phenomenal for his first season. And his just mentality screams Spurs long-term.
9-game homestand, the likes of which I don't believe I've ever seen. They get to play every other night, but at least they're going to get to go home and sleep in their own beds as the Spurs take on the Hornets tonight. I was in a meeting earlier. Have you? This will go to Jill. You've been around him a little bit. Have you divined anything about Pop and his altitude, about where he'll be after the Olympics? Does it feel like he's definitely going to be back next year?
I feel like he's got as long as a lot longer. I really would be surprised if it's anytime soon.
Spurs and Charlotte tonight. Spurs trying to get off that 1-game losing streak, but they have been trending upwards. They get the 8th seed in the East. I don't know what that means. Probably about a 12 seed in the West as the Spurs continue to struggle toward the playoffs. Jill, thanks for stopping by. Travel safe. We'll have you back next week. And, of course, tomorrow we'll sum everything up. Go tear up them brackets and watch the Spurs. This has been The Blitz.
The latest on your silver and black.
DeMar is playing as good a basketball as he's ever played. He's playing as good a ball as he ever played in Toronto when he was an all-star. He's doing more with less. My concern is, does that matter to him? Because if it does, that's one strike against the Spurs, where if you play here, even if you play well, you're not going to get the notoriety, and the fans aren't going to dive in and help you and vote you to an all-star game if you're worried about things like that. Could be another reason for him to leave.
The Blitz, weekdays 4 to 7, 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Howdy, San Antonio. Chip Ingram from the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, inviting you to come out and enjoy patio season. We have newly remodeled patios, garage doors, and everything else you need to enjoy this great South Texas weather. As always, ice cold beer and specialty drinks. Happy hours daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And our kitchen is open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. See you soon at the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant at 281 and Redland Road.
During the winter storm, you either had water pipes break or you know someone who did. Jason Minix here for BSG, the company that brings you the best in home security and smart home technology. At BSG, they have a water valve controller that could save you thousands if you have a water leak. And we all know that you don't have to have a hard freeze for a pipe to bust and flood your house. It happens every day. The smart valve from BSG goes on your main water line, and if it detects any leaks, it will notify you and turn off the water. The smart valve shuts down leaks before they turn into floods. Stay ahead of water waste and high bills. Monitor your water usage and pipes right from your phone. Talk about smart home technology from a company you can trust and the peace of mind your home is protected when you're not home. BSG of Texas, making smart home automation simple. Call 210-877-1222 or learn more at bsgtexas.com/radio.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Because when you find the perfect home, you don't want to lose it to anybody else.